Unbelievable number,
shit.
That was like very reasonable. We could have had 3 viewers.
I'm sure we'll get a couple.
I'll give you the count.
I hit say.
Holy shit,
Really
we're all wearing very
excited.
dark shirts.
Yeah.
I realized
Well,
that.
this
I
is
can take
more
my dark shirt
in the
off and
middle.
show off my other dark shirt.
Damn! Boom! Get it? Because your shirt?
Yeah, I like that.
It's,
It's like wearing gloves under your gloves.
I got that.
I mean,
one.
it's...
Hands are freezing! I'm gonna murder you.
I thought that was a Target joke when I had to go in the fucking
No,
freezer and
Dumb
wear
and
500
Dumber.
pairs of gloves.
Dumb and Dumber, ever seen that?
gloves with gloves on top of them.
Gatorade!
What?
Wearing multiple
Can we
pairs
start
of
this?
gloves with-
No, because
The fans are moist and
They
wanting.
are.
Don't lean too much to that way.
Wearing gloves under gloves.
Taylor, you're
Like
so
every time
funny.
we try to say it, it's totally just his voice.
Keep the volume down while he tells us.
Yeah.
Okay, one more time.
What?
So yeah.
Every
I
cat needs a grandma.
Yeah, it's too late.
Okay, and that's good.
Yeah.
I'm like, all I want to know. I'm just gonna Google it.
Doing it that way, so
Ah,
Tyler has
What
one.
did Tyler say to me
Okay.
5 minutes ago? I didn't hear it.
Tyler, remember to speak clearly.
Are-
Fans.
Everybody, are we ready?
Okay, do I normally
I
mumble?
guess so.
Mom,
Yeah,
let's
sure.
3.
3,
Let's mute the phones.
2,
Oh, good idea.
1.
Boom.
Hello,
You're back.
ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 149th episode of the GeekVerse podcast, where we have a lot more than 280 characters. My name is the superbly Nintendo-rific happy Travis Snail. Got a SNES Classic today.
SNES. How
I'm
does
a
it
pig
feel?
in shit. I'm a pig in shit, you know, rolling in shit. I mean,
You're a
not
pig in
dead.
shit.
I
Again,
thought it was pigs in mud.
Yeah.
I thought
Not
so
shit.
too.
I think it was.
I
I'm
don't
pretty
think
sure
it's
it's
shit.
I don't think it's species.
They're not cool enough. They didn't get the backward password, you know.
The backward
I don't know.
path.
Good, continue. I'll talk
I
about
am.
the SNES later. I'll talk about the SNES later.
I am the Outlander, Dylan Muss.
Wow.
Wow.
And these are the Wow Boys. Or
I am the
the Wow Squad.
I am the I've done questionable things Taylor Field.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Name 3 of them.
Giving
That's
myself
one
that
questionable
nickname
thing.
is very unquestionable.
Okay.
Throwing my notes out is very unquestionable.
He did that, yeah.
And that guy behind the alley. That was.
That was a
Very
doozy.
Not even in the alley, behind the
It
alley.
was.
You don't want to know what's behind the alley.
It was. I told Travis to leave, but he didn't.
You see the alley was like, well, I don't know what to do.
You just watched.
Wait, you guys together?
No, I watched.
Wow.
I don't know if that makes it any better.
I mean, you did know that he was there, so you clearly
I did,
watch,
yeah.
Oh, yikes.
I am scary Kirkland.
I know.
I get it.
Yeah.
I'm the 2 glove wearing Tyler Briggs.
Two gloves?
Yeah.
Tubes? Like tubes?
No, 2
Tell me more.
like 2 gloves.
Tell me more
Tell
about
me
this.
more.
Yeah, there's 2
I thought you
gloves.
said 2 gloves.
Sometimes one pair
Two
of gloves
gloves.
isn't enough. So you have like a nice like thin pair of gloves that you
True.
put like the under.
Are they called liners?
Undermits.
Yeah.
But they're glovey enough that you can wear them on their own if it's a very mild
That's true.
day.
This is actually now a mitten and glove podcast only,
Yes.
just discussing the
Yeah.
newest brands, what's the new on
Then
the
the
street.
spin-off shows behind the alley with Taylor Field.
Yeah.
He just interviews homeless people.
Gloves off.
No!
On that note, while they compose themselves,
No.
some quick housekeeping. Next Saturday, October 7th, the GeekVerse Gauntlet finale is almost here. Geek Mania, you got Dylan and Tyler going at Rocket League. You got Kirkland and Jessica
Wait.
in Sonic
Did you
Adventures.
say next week it's almost here?
It's almost here next week, yeah.
Okay.
Geek
But-
Mania,
so
we're
next
so close.
So next week it's not almost here. It's almost
That's
here
what I
right
thought.
now,
So,
and then next week it's
Pigs and
right
shit,
now.
my friend.
That's
Pigs
what-
and shit. You got Taylor Field defending his
Defense
title
review.
against Rumour. The first ever sports GeekVerse Gauntlet champion's gonna be crowned. I've almost completed. It's almost like a sweet 2 hours and 45 minutes.
A
If you
real
love video
swap
games,
gauntlet.
there's some great matches on there. Please check it out. We've worked hard. It is worth the 245. I promise you. It is very entertaining. There's some fun little sketches in there, perhaps. So there's that. We can finally plug this officially November 4th. It's a Saturday of November. I think it's the first Saturday of November.
Yes, sir.
We're doing an extra live stream. We're doing 24 hours. Next week, I'm going to try our best to have our set time. We're probably going to start early in the morning, so
Yeah.
somewhere from like a 7 to 10. But yeah, we're going to be doing that. We're going towards BC Children's Hospital. All the funds we make from now until then are going there. We have a lofty goal, but we hope you can help us out. It's $500. So if you like the gauntlet, if you like our personalities, we're going to be doing that for 24 hours.
For the kids.
We're gonna, all for the kids. We're going to be doing some fun games. We're going to do some gauntlet tournament. We're going to do a bunch of fun stuff. So please, once this episode's over, I'll have the link to our group so you can donate now. You can donate in a few weeks. Anything helps, whether it's $1, $5, $50, whatever it is, anything helps because at the end of the day, it's going towards a really good cause. As you can always see, I'm wearing the Connor Secure bracelet. I'm much into charity as far as promoting and whatnot. So I'm very excited about this. We're all excited about this. I think there'll be at least an appearance by almost everyone that's been on this podcast at some point. It's going to be a whole 24 hours. We're going to release our schedule very, very soon. Netflix and Fail came out last week. We had Criminal Activities, the great John Travolta. Last time he was on, he passed us. Did he do it again? Check it out. Next Tuesday, we are reviewing Cult of Chucky. It is coming to Netflix the same day as DVD. Who knows? The trailer looks awful, but I love Chucky movies. Do you have anything to say on that?
I'm
next
so
Tuesday?
fucking excited for this movie. Like, I was looking at my shelf earlier, I'm like, there's my Curse of Chucky Blu-ray DVD bundle with the digital copy. I'm gonna watch that before this cast. Like, I'm so
Gloves
pumped.
off.
Gloves right on.
So we have 2 Netflix and Fails within a week of each other. Saw retrospective. You can check out the first trilogy is already done in October. All rest of the 4 episodes are dropping week to week, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. And that is next week's Blade Runner review, and also our 150th episode. But next week is our Blade Runner review. That'll be on the Friday. I guess that's the last thing to plug. If you don't follow us on Facebook or Twitter, if you're watching live on YouTube, we're officially Friday nights. And then for the podcast, you can get us like probably midnight at Friday or early Saturday morning.
Yeah.
So for now you know a date. We'll try to announce a time ahead of time, but now you know every Friday night is GeekVerse night. I'm going to be saying that for the next month to plug it in your fucking head, so get used to it. But GeekVerse
night, baby.
GeekVerse night
GeekVerse
equals Friday
Friday.
night. Start the weekend off right!
Yeah.
Boom! Okay.
And the clock don't strike 9.
Gloves off.
I have a plug I want to
Nope.
Keep saying that.
I already put him in
You
the
are a
garbage.
plug, so makes
okay.
sense.
Ooh.
Gloves off, baby.
Yeah, you know, we're getting here Assassin's Creed here, so the next Geeks Creed is going to be coming up on the weekend of the 27th.
That's still a month away.
Yeah, but you shared out the 24 live stream, which is
That's important. That's going money towards
That's
children.
very important. You know what? It's
This is
Geeks
money
Creed.
towards
Kids
Taylor.
love
Assassin's Creed.
Yes,
Okay.
they do.
Taylor's fun.
You know what?
He tells them.
Some adults.
As he's trying to cosplay, sir, we're not letting you in the hospital. No, please. We
These
saw
are
you.
real knives.
We saw you what you did in that alley.
But yeah, you know, we got there's going to be the review cast for Geeks Creed. There's going to be watch along video. I'm going to try and do a live stream for the game. It's going to be tons of fun stuff. Tons of stuff coming out. Check out my page, Assassin's Creed Universe, on Facebook for more information.
For more information.
So we're gonna do a little swap day because for our last segment, Kirkland's not seen Blade Runner. We're gonna talk about Blade Runner, so he's gonna dip out when we talk about Blade Runner.
Dip out real quick.
Just dip it.
So we're gonna start with video games. So if you like video games, we're gonna be talking however long, and then we'll switch over to movies and TV. If you like it all, stick around. Red Dead Redemption 2 finally dropped its second, I guess it's official reveal trailer. The first one was a tease. Dylan, also we have a main topic, but what did you think about the trailer just alone?
I haven't seen the trailer, so.
Yes.
Normally before the episode, we watch the trailers.
Swing
I didn't know we
and
were
a miss.
watching that one, so.
Swing and a miss.
Big miss. Big miss.
Tyler Briggs?
I didn't even show up to the ball game, so.
Okay.
Ooh.
2 out. It's gonna be the
I'm
third.
gonna blame you for that, actually.
Not at all. It is not
Yeah,
my.
100%
You guys had tons of time before. He's watching fucking anime videos. You guys are
He's
talking
been
about
watching anime
couches.
straight for 3 years.
Well,
True.
can you save us before we strike out?
Yes,
Kirkland, have
I've
you
seen
seen the
it.
trailer?
I watched it last night actually, and I thought it was interesting. The first look of the new character they'll be playing.
Mr. Morgan.
Mr. Morgan.
Mr.
yes.
Morgan.
I forget his last name or his first name.
Dexter. First name's Dexter.
First name, Mr.
I
Morgan.
thought it was like Arthur.
It's Arthur Morgan.
Okay, Arthur Morgan. And
Distant cousin. Distant
I
cousin.
don't know. I feel like it just wasn't as intimidating as the first character.
I feel like he was trying to be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the first guy had scars all over his face.
But maybe
He
that's
looked
like
all
his character development.
scrubbed.
Right?
That is true. That
He's
is
trying
true.
to be tough,
That
and
is
then
true.
some real,
This is
You're not born a tough
some
guy.
real
You're
heavy
not.
shit happens, and then
Yeah.
he actually is tough.
That is true. This is
Throughout
just
the game.
first look, I guess, of this new character. But
Wrong.
I wasn't too blown away with the trailer. They didn't show too much. It definitely brought me back to the Red Dead.
Was there
theme,
gameplay footage
obviously.
at all?
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think it could have
Like
been maybe
maybe,
spliced,
yeah.
but nothing
Like
like
a
a
cutscene, maybe.
yeah, not like a
Yeah.
whole like this 30 seconds was gameplay.
Right.
I didn't
Yeah.
see no HUDs or nobody falling off a horse.
Yeah, no,
Always
exactly.
looking for those HUDs.
But yeah, there's nothing too crazy, but like I didn't not like it. That's for sure. Like it made me think of Red Dead again, which is awesome. And I get like that first initial hype because the first teaser, like it's a teaser. It's not gonna come out for
Yeah.
the first for like a year. Or
I
so.
think the first 15-20 seconds were just like mountains and
Yeah.
woods, so it's
Exactly,
like, okay, that's
yeah.
alright.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna be picking it up day one. I love that series, and it'll be interesting to check out the storyline. Oh, it's a prequel. I didn't really see the if there's references.
There
Is
is,
that-
that's
is
what gave
there?
it away.
Okay.
Dutch is
Yeah,
like,
okay.
he's in the trailer.
There's a couple names that I just couldn't remember because I haven't played that
Yeah,
game in
yeah.
so long.
So guaranteed prequel.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second, but yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like it.
They didn't show
Yeah.
off like if it's referencing like the main character. Which I know that it probably will. Like they'll mention him at some point.
Yeah.
Or maybe you'll see him or something like that. But they didn't talk about that in the trailer. They're just some like familiar names from the first game. But yeah, it wasn't mind blowing, but it wasn't disappointing at all. It was just I liked it.
Yeah, I watched it.
That's better than.
This is a better half.
Yeah, I
This
did
is a
it,
better
okay.
half. I did my homework.
I like Red Dead Redemption. I mean, this Morgan dude who seemed kind of like laid back. Like he had, it seemed like the environment around him made him more badass. As a character himself, he couldn't come off as being too badass.
Okay.
He's
Interesting.
for me. I like John Marston a lot more than
Yeah.
than Arthur.
What about his
You've
son?
not played him yet, though. We don't know.
No, but just the way he talks and acts to these other characters in the trailer, I was like, this guy seems just like he's putting out there, like he's trying to
He's
put
putting out. He's putting out. The guy.
Side objective, go put out 50 times. Behind an alley. You're in a barn, actually, in this game.
He seems like he's trying to be a tough guy, but John Marston just had this natural kind of like, you see him, he's just like, he is a badass. He's born badass, like.
On that note, though, I feel like this character, how he's like, he seems pretty plain. I feel like they can take it and make like a huge like character transition. Like I feel like halfway through the game, like something crazy could happen and he could totally change.
I think he's gonna be more on the route of like hero or like guy who comes to be a hero, maybe starts regretting some things and whatnot. Where John Marston started as like he's a former, outlaw, but he's trying to redeem himself. Where this is gonna be, I think you'll play as like he's a badass, and something will happen, and you'll be like, oh, like I should be a good guy now. And yeah, that's my prediction. I think it'll be like.
Did
that
they like talk about his
classic
backstory? Like his yeah, no,
not
that's
yet.
what-
No,
yeah.
it's Rockstar. That
Of course,
play
yeah.
close to the chest. Yeah. Did Phil you anything to play?
I want to see some gameplay because I'm sure it'll come out soon. But I mean, I don't know if it'll be like a day one buy for me. I've always between the two, like I look at it like that and Grand Theft Auto. I've always been more the Grand Theft Auto kind of person. Like I'm more Skyrim to Fallout kind of person. So.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought the trailer like alone was great. I'm excited to see gameplay, but at the same time I'm not, because I just kind of know it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be very similar to Red Dead, just kind of updated graphically. Like you look at GTA, it doesn't really change too
They did-
much.
I saw they threw in a bow though.
That's as I
That's
mentioned,
pretty
yeah.
awesome,
So there's stuff that people have been requesting that thrown. So like obviously for the hunting, the bow, that's really cool. So there'll be some like cool new shifts in mechanic because obviously it's
Yeah.
older and in the past.
New
so.
animals.
Yeah,
I saw
exactly.
like an alligator in there or something.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. I think this game will probably still easily be like game of the year,
Yeah.
a bunch of
Oh,
people's
for
game of
sure,
the
yeah.
years and everything. It's gonna sell like hotcakes. I'm very excited. This wasn't the trailer, but they keep stressing there's gonna be an online. And I played GTA Online quite a bit when it first came out, and I dip in and out. I think the Western vibe would make me play it a bit more, just because it's a bit more unique. Like you think about Grand Theft Auto Online, it is unique, but it's still just like modern day guns, bazookas, RPGs, cars. Where the horses, the bow and arrow,
Yeah.
stuff like that, that is where it has a bit more different vibe what games don't have right now. Like there's no big online Western
And
right
if they
now.
treat it anything like that, GTA Online, they're
Yeah.
still pumping out updates for that
Oh
thing.
yeah, I know.
Till
it's
this day,
crazy.
for
Best
free,
selling game of all
so-
time officially now, remember? So yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, and then, well, the first game had online, right? So you know this one.
Yeah, it had like that. It was fun still. It was like
Yeah.
more. It was just like gunfights, really.
Yeah,
but
it
like,
was just like a free for all or whatever. You just go in there
Yeah.
and like
Join
just shoot
posses
people.
and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
But you think about the first game, like they had all like the card games and the dice games. You're gonna do that like online. You can play tennis
Oh,
against
yeah.
people, everything like
And it's
that.
like the same thing for like GTA 4. Like the online, that's all it was, right?
Yeah.
You go in there, you just shoot people. Red Dead, same one thing. So I think this one will be similar to GTA 5, which would be awesome if it is along those lines, because that's like the best online.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, and then like the thing, and I'll throw it to you guys, the thing that I'm still the most disappointed, I'm a broken record, I say all the time, I'm not a fan of prequels. I feel like in the past decade we're so stuck in, hey, there's a myth, there's a story, and then we gotta go back and explain it. Other than the Ape series recently, nothing's really came to mind. Like when I think of prequels, I think of Star Wars, I think of The Hobbit, I think of Fantastic Beasts, I think of Rogue One. Rogue One is probably like the highest as far as like, oh, I liked it enough, but it always feels like it's empty, and this especially, like, this is about, with Dutch being in there, this is about the gang John Marston was in. We know where that's gonna go. We know that they break up, John kind of sells them out, they go to prison, we know John falls in love with a prostitute. Like, this is my thing, that they're not saying how much of a prequel it ties to it, but my worry is it's not a big spoiler, but in Red Dead, at one point you do play as his son, right? Mm-hmm. My worry is the tail end of this game, something's going to happen to Mr. Morgan, and you're going to play as John Marston. And I could see them, because Rockstar loves doing that type of tricky stuff. They love to, like, right when you think it's going one way, it goes another. And I guess we've never really talked about this as far as prequels with video games. We talk about a lot with movies, but how do you guys feel? Like, obviously, Dylan, I think you said you played Red Dead a little bit, but just even the idea of prequel in video games, because I think those are a bit fewer than movies, but I feel there was this, and I remember that game, Life is Strange, like that newest one came as a prequel, and even Bioshock Infinite.
I think, like, I've only played Red Dead a bit, so for me, I don't have the full impact of the story, and I've heard some spoilers and stuff like that, and that the story, generally people quite liked it. So, I mean, I don't really have much of an opinion on whether or not I think it's a good thing for this game, but I don't know. I don't think I'm really opposed to the idea of them doing a prequel. I mean, it doesn't really change much in terms of, like, the era that you're going to be in, because it's, I mean, if you're hanging out with John Marston, then it's still going to be, like, pretty much the same time frame. So, I mean, at the end of the day, for video games, it's just, like, the new stuff you get to do and making the mechanics better, and the game looks better and has, better sound and all that stuff. So I can't really think of too many prequel video games, though.
Yeah,
like,
Bioshock Infinite was one.
Right.
Yeah, that's what, like I said, like, there's not too many. There's maybe some games that
I can't think of many examples, but I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily.
Yeah.
For Red Dead.
I don't know.
I mean, I've never played the Red Dead games either, so pretty much what Dylan said. As far as prequels for video games go, I mean, ODST I feel like is one. Like, I feel like they're good enough, but they're never really they never live up to the original. So I feel like in that regards, it could be disappointing to people, like big fans of the original. I feel like it has a higher chance of being disappointing than if they just tried to do like a completely different story in the same universe. So I think it could pay off really well for them, but it's a huge risk. The only good video game prequel I can think of would be Bioshock Infinite and the DLC for it, which was blanking on the name, but it kind of led up into the first Bioshock, that was an amazing experience as far as prequels go. But for the most part, they've always been subpar, I've found, in video games too.
Yeah. The thing with this one, I feel like how you say like you'll play John Marston at the end, because like I'm not really expecting this game to end like right before like.
Yeah, that's why I don't know when it will end, but we know Marston joins the gang, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder where it will.
Like I know you're gonna see him. I don't think. Like for like this is just totally like speculation or whatever. Like I feel like he won't have like a big impact in like the game. I feel like he'll just be a total side character, and I think that's what they should do. I think that's their choice. But and then how you said like it could be a letdown for like prequels don't always live up. Like Rockstar like makes amazing storylines in their games, and like the first one that was like probably the best storyline I've ever played in a video game. Like it was just so like powerful. Like the ending is so sad and just everything that happens. So it'll definitely be hard because like I put so much hours in the first game and I loved it so much, so I could see it being like a little bit disappointing if the story's not as strong or if they try to tie it too much to the first game. I feel like I wouldn't like that as much. I'm still gonna love it, like regardless.
Yeah, it's that thing where we're not that serious. But
yeah, exactly.
I think it's like if they do what you're talking about, where it's kind of somehow slightly connected, and you've seen John Marston and that's why I brought the Rogue One, because my worry was when we talked about Rogue One, Taylor from day one, like those people aren't gonna die, and I said they're gonna die. We know how this is gonna end. Like we know exactly, and that's what happened. Like I do lean a bit more towards the way Ty brings up of that. I maybe just wish it could be a prequel, but just has nothing to do, like no Dutch, no anybody, just like it's in that world by itself. I'm completely fine if it's just off to the side, but that's my big worry as we take over, because like you brought up the story, that's my biggest worry is it won't affect gameplay or the graphics or anything like that. But the thing, Red Dead, I think why some people hold it higher than GTA is because that story and the way it plays out. That's my biggest worry, is just that if we end up figuring out where the story's going or kind of an idea, we lose that shock value, or we lose that like, not nostalgia, what the fuck was I saying? That mysteriousness that we have with Red Dead, you know? Because when stuff happens, it was shocking. That's my biggest worry, how it could affect the game.
Yeah, you brought up a big point where it's like, if something happens, then you're like, oh, I know what's happening. Like, you're kind of cluing in to what's gonna happen. That, I wouldn't like that at all. But, I don't know. I have faith. So like, Rockstar makes amazing games.
Did Rockstar confirm that it's a prequel, or is it just speculation so far?
Well, there's younger versions of characters from the first one, so even though it's called Red Dead 2,
it could have like time skips.
I don't, because the first game kind of did that, so I think they'll stay away just because they don't want to repeat. But they could, they did it, so they could just be like, we're doing it again.
The trailer shots from like when it goes, say like it's after the original Red Dead game, and it just goes back like, oh hey, this is kind of what led up to these things happening. So you go back and play characters.
I think they could with Rockstar. I honestly don't think they're.
Well, they did it in GTA 5 too.
What? GTA? I don't think they did.
They did
multiple characters.
They did it.
What if that's their plan with this game, is to have multiple characters?
I'm so not excited for that. I really don't want that.
Really?
Yeah.
I really like that in GTA 5.
That's why though. I just played it in GTA 5. That was my thing, and I guess it's the thing of kind of what I know as far as I really like the solo adventure with Red Dead. That was my problem with GTA 5. I liked it. I actually loved it, but I never felt really connected to one because it was spread all out. That's why I really like GTA 4, and some people scoff at me when I say I like it better than San Andreas, but like I like Nico Bellic's story from where it started and ended. Where if we had the 3, I'm not opposed to it, but just because we just had GTA 5, I'm like, I don't know.
Like, I feel the same thing, or same way how I don't want it in Red Dead, because you get so attached to the story, and like GTA 5, I didn't feel as attached to the story. Like, I loved how they did that. Like I loved.
It was
GTA
a fun
5.
change.
Yeah, like I really liked that experience, but for this particular game, I don't want that. I kind of just want to stick with the one character, and not have like several or something to switch around. Because I don't know. Like, I feel like in a game like this too, like a bunch of like Westerners, I feel like you wouldn't even get attached to like one of those characters, you know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Taylor, you're a huge prequel fan. You haven't talked about video game prequels. You love I think you love any prequel, to be honest.
You know,
you do a
the
prequel.
trick is he loves everything.
I won't lie, I
That's
fell
the
asleep near the end of Fantastic Beasts. I couldn't.
Wow.
That is a boring movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, as far as prequel games go, I'm gonna go for, this is my ace in the hole here. Assassin's Creed Origins. That's a prequel game. So you know.
You haven't played it yet, bitch.
Gloves off. But I can already just from what I've seen, I think, you know what, it's way better than the latest Assassin's Creed.
I hope it's Unity. So. After all that, I hope it's Unity. You got fucking eye people walking around.
I mean, that's my go-to for games. Like, if they're taking the prequel route, there's still a very good chance, you know, different. Even though it's still relatively close to the first Red Dead's timeline, it's not in that timeline. It's before, younger generation, mix of some new characters and some familiar characters. So, you know, it's different stories and everything. I think that's really what can really amp it up. And not just that, but it comes down to, like the new animals and the things you can do and encounter and the game experience itself. And I mean, that's what'll really sell it at the end of the day. And I mean, if it's got a good story, like I was thinking in my head, what if it is kind of like just flashbacks and nods to the gang and they show kind of John Marston or something like that. But in reality, it'll come down to you getting to play as Arthur Morgan after John Marston's death, or after he broke out of jail, or after he's done something. Like it could focus a little bit in the past, and then it could cover a little bit leading up to the present where John Marston passed, and then it could skip into its own new direction.
I mean, yeah, it could.
No warnings.
It could have some of those like prequel moments. You know, some of those older characters, just to introduce you to the new character and give like his backstory, but then boom, you get to start off in this new adventure. I don't know. They can do a lot of things with it.
Yeah, like the way you structure that kind of makes sense to me. Like how they show like a younger version of like the gang or whatever, and then you play, and then like a main storyline happens, and it's like, oh, years progressed or something like that, and then like the character gets older and like more battle scars. He doesn't look so fucking green. But I think like that could work, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I don't know.
the way I like.
What's your counterpoint then?
Oh no, I wasn't counting. I was
Okay.
just kind of agreeing with it.
Oh,
Like they
yeah.
did it. I thought they did it really well with GTA 5 too, because the very opening mission is you playing as
Trevor and
Trevor and
Mike.
Michael.
Michael. Yeah.
And they're doing their, it's like the initial heist,
Yeah.
and then it ends there. That you think Michael's dead, and then time skips.
Mhm.
What,
That is
10
just
years?
one scene.
Yeah, that is
though,
just
Yeah,
right.
well, was there enough in the trailer to fill multiple sections, or could that literally just be the start of the game?
No,
I think it is going to be the whole
I think
game.
it's gonna be the whole game.
I think the flashback thing sounds
Because-
cute, but I don't think it's going to
Yeah,
happen.
I feel like they showed enough of like the world itself that they wouldn't like be like, oh, that's just
So
like
the
10
character
minutes of
that
the
you play
game.
as now, was he in that original game?
No, so
So he's
I
a new
think
character.
he'll meet his demise, go to prison, or I'm kind of leaning towards he'll become a good guy and he'll get away. Unlike John
I feel
Marston,
like
he'll
he'll die.
actually get away. Well,
I
the
mean,
only reason I don't know
yeah.
is because the same thing that kind of just happened, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I don't. It's kind of tricky. At the end of the day, I think it's Rockstar.
Yeah.
I always said that the Disney video games, whatever they do, you
It's
can be
gonna-
down on
yeah.
them. I'll be like, oh, Civil War, too many characters,
Yeah.
like best Marvel movie ever. Same thing. This will be like, oh, I don't know about Prequel. I'll be like, oh, this is the best game they've made.
Oh no,
like,
100%.
it-
Yeah, that's totally.
you can never until they really screw the pooch. Like, it's hard to question them, but
Yeah.
it's gonna be
Rockstar always
interesting.
kill it. They have a ping pong game, and it's like the best game ever. But yeah, no, like, what was the other point I was gonna say? Was shooting blanks.
Yikes.
I feel
Hear that, ladies?
what I'm hoping, is like they have the gang or whatever, but I don't want that to be like a main thing. Like like I don't want those characters to be like main like antagonists, like Dutch or whatever their names.
So
are.
you don't want them to be in the story too much?
No, like I want them to just be like, oh yeah, like this is the side character, like not like necessarily a side quest, like you see them in main quest, but like they're not the whole game, like you know what I mean?
So like you're saying you want more of like you just being Arthur Morgan doing your own stuff instead of being as far as the gang?
no, like I know he's gonna interact with these
Mhm.
gang members, but I don't want them to be like, oh, he meets this guy right at the beginning of the game, and then you're with them for the entire end, like like.
Okay.
I don't want to be like, oh, I'm working with you, and then they backstab you or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to be like, oh, okay, you're hanging out with these guys, do some missions with them, and then they just totally fuck off, and they're like gone.
I think the ending of the game you probably get a lot of, like the gang dynamic because like
Yeah.
you find out the gang crumbles. So I can
Yeah.
see maybe in the middle that kind of happens.
Yeah.
In the beginning, you'll kind of be on your maybe you're trying to like impress the gang and you're doing
Mhm.
all these like train heists. That's super cool. Like
Yeah.
that wasn't in the game before. Like you've done missions with trains, but never train heists. So
Oh, yeah,
that
totally.
looks phenomenal. Like I
Yeah.
can't wait to rob a train. I've tried many times in my real life. It doesn't really count out, but
It's
I've
hard.
gone away every time. So
But like from the trailer, it seems like all the footage was kind of like the beginning of the game. I felt
Yeah.
like because he's like, oh, this is like who I am. I want to like I need some work, and then they're like, oh yeah, like come like bring a gun.
what do
or
you
something.
got?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like totally like an intro, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna see time skips. All I know is that this game's gonna be super fun.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
Yeah.
We'll definitely get one more trailer because they said as of right now, spring 2018.
Spring
So
2018,
no
yeah.
official date. So that still leaves some room to be like, hey, we need to push it back to summer. You know, like
Yeah.
whenever you.
PC version 2 more years.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
online after that, another 2 years.
Yeah, they didn't say anything for PC or Switch, so you know Nintendo fanboys were a little mad. But what were you expecting? You guys got LA Noire on the Switch, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do we have anything more to add on Red Dead Redemption 2? I think easily gonna be the most anticipated game next year. I'm trying to think. Well,
Spider-Man.
yeah, true.
I don't know. I feel like this.
what else?
I feel like that trumps it.
Well, I think for most people, but I think Spider-Man has a chance of being if we're
It's not by Rockstar though.
no, but if our concerns are right about too much too much prequelness, Spider-Man could take over being really fresh. You know,
Spider-Man,
Yeah,
too much
but,
Flash.
like,
think about what Arkham Asylum did. That got that hype pretty high up there. So if it can get to that level, I think
Yeah.
I'm not saying it'll be Red Dead, but it'll be like the Thor Ragnarok to Last Jedi. It'll be a strong number 2. You
They're
know,
not really advertising this as a prequel though.
What?
It's just Red Dead 2.
yeah, no,
But they're like,
I don't
oh,
think
this is Dutch, and then people who are like us who have played the game, they're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is based before it. They're not like,
I-
as a prequel to Red Dead 1.
the only reason they're calling Red Dead 2 is just for like the finances. Like this is the second one.
Well, you
I'm
can't
making.
call it Red Dead like -1. That's just weird.
Yeah.
Well, you could do Red Dead something else because the very first
Red
game was
Dead. Red Dead
beginning.
before Redemption.
The very first game was Red Dead Revolver.
Orange
You
Dead.
know, so
before Red.
yeah, there's other titles, so they just went for the quick 2, as Dylan would say. So
2 quick ones is what I say.
He's gonna get betrayed, and then he's gonna have to get vengeance.
Yeah. Anything else on Red Dead and the Cowboys?
That was a good discussion.
Nope. Cowboys are cool though.
With a gun.
Okay. Nintendo, I added this one in today. Nintendo is banning live streaming on YouTube. How do we all feel
I
about
feel like
that?
I've tried this before.
And,
Wait.
well,
I
originally,
feel like they do this like once
Elaborate.
every few months.
so they're now on YouTube. You cannot live stream
And Nintendo.
Nintendo. It would get like there's a chance of if you're creators like us, it would take our monetization away, so no money, or they'll just take down the video. Where before there was like a half and half sort of deal, like a partnership. Now this is that. So it doesn't affect our gauntlet matches as those are not live. So I'm looking into our 24-hour stream, so we're gonna figure that out. But
Well, there was once a time when Nintendo banned Melee from being on big Twitch streams, and then we dropped the Spirit Bomb. Everyone was crying about how much they hated it, and then they reverted it. So that's what we got to do. We just got to say, Nintendo, quit being stupid and let us stream your games so people can see these games and go buy them, and then you make a lot of money, and then we also maybe make.
Why do they not want people to stream the game?
their reasoning was they cannot control the environment, and they're worried about vulgar language and whatnot, which I don't understand, because for us that tape gauntlet, let's say it's Dylan and Taylor versing a Mario Kart. From live streaming, what if it was a live stream with nothing said except for, oh, look at that move, and then me recording it being like, man, fuck Nintendo's mother. Like, I don't understand when they're saying we can put up
I want to know who Nintendo's mother is. That's quite a question.
She's
Or do you mean like the series
She's
mother?
pretty saucy.
Is that a good or bad thing?
You'll find out.
You gotta take the gloves off first.
I imagine what will happen is almost anything live, recorded, will also be banned eventually. I think this is just them sprinkling in, but that argument does not make sense because we
Well,
could
this makes me a
record
little
match.
worried because YouTube and Twitch are they're owned by the same people now, right? So
Yeah.
that's not far off before Twitch gets Ben and Hammer. That doesn't even really make sense. That's what the service is for. I don't know if they go that far. So it seems weird to me that they are making this move on YouTube and not Twitch at the same time. It makes me actually worried that this is just a stepping stone to also getting rid of Twitch.
I think so.
Since that's under the same umbrella now.
Yeah, I never really. I guess I understand it from sometimes the streaming. I've never because it gets games out there. And you know what? If someone like us sometimes let's say I was looking at stats today on it's Xbox, but me and Dylan's Xbox match from the tournament made 36 cents. If Xbox really wants that, they can have that 36 cents. But it's just that it feels very petty for Nintendo to be like, we need this. And I guess I get it for people like a PewDiePie that would have millions of people, but even then, it's just I don't think it's affecting you. You're getting the game out there more. I feel there's a chance, for us, there's a chance in our 24-hour stream, let's say before that happens, even when Twitch gets banned, then we don't really play any Mario at all, or Nintendo, right? And that's where it's
that's for the kids, we want to play Nintendo.
well, yeah, but that's where it's I don't know. It just feels petty. It's just I don't think they're gonna get that money anyways because people just stop. They'll just stop declining.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
I'm just
for
not
every
gonna stream
good
this.
decision Nintendo makes, they make 3 very strange ones. So this is just one of those 3 decisions, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just I've never really been the biggest Nintendo fan, but every time I hear these when they pulled what was it the what was the first one that they brought back, the NES?
Yeah.
It's just oh, we're only gonna put out this much, but it's everybody wants one. It's just that's such a dumb decision to me. And then it's that's one, they limited one, and then removing Nintendo.
Why do they have to make such damn good games?
Why?
No.
I don't know. I just think Nintendo's stupid. Honestly.
Well, I think for that, as somebody that I'll get into later, I got a SNES Classic, or as Taylor called it, the SNES.
Yes.
The SNES. I
Not
like
the
it. That's
SNES,
what I'm calling
not
it.
the SNES.
Let's go.
SNES.
the Super NES.
I think the SNES sounds just weird.
doesn't-
It
I don't
doesn't
think-
roll off the tongue. I was trying to say a full sentence there and I had to stop because I felt disgusted.
So
sounds
SNES
nasty.
sounds better?
SNES.
Oh, fuck off, guys.
That's
But I-
nasty.
I think what they like, as a person that was in a line date, I think they like people walking by, hey, what are you lined up for? They like to build up the hype. They like to be on that Yahoo Top 25, the top Christmas gifts that everyone wants this year, Because if you can just buy it, they're not on those lists. I think they like to build up that hype. For good or bad, they can make a lot more money, but it gets their name out there more. I agree with you. It's stupid. I don't like that I had to go wake up at 6 a.m. and get ready to go into a line, which luckily, my story, I just walked into EB Games, got a ticket, bought it. Sorry, Best Buy line fuckers, sorry. But, so I was lucky, but I think they just like to be the talk of the town.
Yeah.
They're that girl that always wants attention, or that guy always wants attention.
Yeah, and I've never liked that guy or girl. So
How do you like me?
I just don't like Nintendo.
No.
I don't know. I'm just not a Nintendo fan, so.
Before you go, Peter Gallagher in our live chat asked, will Blade Runner 2049 be the movie of the year? We'll get to that in our movie section. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it's going to be second.
With an emphasis on the no.
It's going to be tough for me to top Logan, but we'll see. That's what people are saying. So stick around for our movie section. What do the two T's have to say about this Nintendo business?
Two towers.
Scummy. I don't like it.
The two towers.
I've kind of steered away from Nintendo aside from Melee for the most part of my life, so.
You can't steer away from Melee.
You can't. You gotta steer
They got you one way or another.
It's as essential as breathing or food.
Yeah.
So.
But,
Not sex.
I don't know. This is just
Melee.
Not
Sex.
sex. No.
You know, I think Nintendo's pretty alright. They do pretty good things, but I mean, they also do a lot of really dumb things, and I feel like there's a
So it bounces
really
out to a
dumb
pretty
thing.
alright.
Yeah, I know. It's overall, it's like a fairly generic game company. It's like, you know, they make games.
Like the Punisher of gaming companies. Like, he's murdering people in mass numbers, but they're all criminals, so like, it's all kind of fun.
Okay.
It's all kind of fun.
Nintendo,
Don't worry about it. Don't look too
That is a great way
closely.
to put it.
Just don't
So,
judge.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't really play Nintendo games except for with you guys, but we also like to live stream them. So
Yeah.
it could affect us, so you know.
Fuck you.
That's
Nintendo.
our
All in
reason
all,
for
fuck
salty.
you, Nintendo, for making this decision.
We're gonna take away all
I
our
don't like
funds
you.
from our gauntlet
Yeah.
videos. Anything Nintendo, they're coming after us now.
You know, when you share that link, I was at work and I got so mad. I was talking to all my employees about it. I was just venting. I'm like, do you know what
Like your employees or like
my employees?
like you employ them?
yes,
They're actually his
Okay.
slaves.
they are.
He doesn't pay them.
Nintendo
They're his
pays me.
replicants. Yeah. Get back to work.
No, like
They're gonna rebel.
all my coworkers. You know, I'm thinking, you know, how can Nintendo do this? I was so mad because there's so many Nintendo games I love to play, and my main thing was
I'm
thinking,
picturing you actually. How can Nintendo do this?
I
Like, in
was.
the Prequel.
like,
Some lady
How
at
can
Bed
they
Bath
do
Beyond
this to
just
me again?
Sir, can I force the towels?
how can Nintendo do this? But just like games like Strikers and stuff, like I think, oh, these are great games. Like,
yeah, that's our melee.
Yeah,
That's
like,
like the strikers.
these are what I want to live stream. But you know, I was thinking to myself, like,
Yeah, there goes our Iron Man match
I
for the
know,
24-hour
like
stream.
I'm so mad because there is no logical sense as to why a company would do this.
Money.
Not even that. There's like the money in it, like for the most part they're gonna be like, oh, just take the videos down. I feel like that would be the direct approach instead of actually like keeping it up and taking the funds.
They do that as well. So.
Yeah, they do
But
it
I mean,
all.
on
Post
top
a
of
Breath
that,
of the Wild video. Good luck keeping it
how
up.
do you keep up with the companies like Microsoft and Sony that allow their games to be live streamed?
No one knows how they do it, man.
I mean,
They're a
like,
fucking enigma.
Because I do think, other than a few games, like you have Melee that stands out, I think a lot of their newer games are not that big into streaming if you think about it. I didn't see, like, I guess Zelda kind of for people, but it
I
wasn't
mean,
like
when
a
they first
huge-
come out, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Odyssey will break that trend though, because there's gonna be a shit ton of speedrunners playing that.
Yeah.
And
True,
so that will
yeah,
have
for
lots of
that,
power.
yeah.
People are gonna watch that, and
Mm.
people are gonna watch it anyway when it first comes out.
So Odyssey's a good example. After that will be a Yoshi game, a Kirby game.
Yeah, those will be popular for a week and then they'll die off.
So I think maybe that's why they're not that worried about it. So it's not, they don't make a big business from it anyways, and the business that is being made, they want to take. And it is, I think it's greedy. I think it's just, they do like this kind of thing, like, oh, this is our community. They're really kind of anal like that, but I don't think they're examples of the vulgarness and whatnot. That doesn't really.
Well, I mean that's
Kids are gonna
It's
start.
totally possible that as their new CEO is a businessman rather than a gamer. That's totally it's just the direction they might be going, right?
Nintendo kids are gonna smoke pot, they're gonna say swear words, and they're gonna watch porn with or without you. Like, I hate that they
And they're gonna do it all at the same time.
on the Nintendo
No gloves
console.
on.
No, but they just act like they're gods sometimes. They're just like, oh, we gotta, protect our base. Like, these kids are gonna be exposed by that at some point. I'm not saying to go out there and make, Sex and the City 3 the video game. I'm just saying, like,
The second one is great though.
true classic. But
True classic.
I just, it is frustrating. And maybe it's more frustrating for us because we're new into this, but it's like, that kind of sucks where it's like, that limits some options of like I said, me and Taylor for the 24-hour stream, we wanted to do like a final online Strikers hour Iron Man match, but now it's like, well, can we do that? I don't know.
So like, is it just live stream or is it also videos that you
Videos.
I did see
There is
that
videos that
video.
get taken down. Like,
Yeah.
I watched this guy who does like video game reviews, and anytime he talks about Breath of the Wild and like references it, instead of showing a clip from that game, he just shows like the Skyrim mod with like him running around his Link, because he has to, or else the video will get dinged. right?
Yeah. See, like,
It's a
I'm
genius.
the kind
It's
of
very
person, like,
smart.
after I, like, beat video games, I love to go back and rewatch the cutscenes, and, for Nintendo games, I mean, there's some great
I have never done that in
cinematics.
my life.
For games like
I wonder why he's
cutscenes
late all the time in the
first
cast.
place.
games like Gears of War and Halo, I love to go back and rewatch the cutscenes. They're awesome.
I can agree with that. I've done that.
Okay,
Yeah.
would you do that right after you play the game, or a few months? You're like, oh,
No,
I like
I'd
this.
do I'd do it a few months later.
Yeah, so you're just
See?
weird that you beat me. Like, I gotta watch them again.
Yeah,
Like,
because they're great cutscenes. You know?
Depends on the cutscene.
I feel like he disagreed with you, kind of. And you're like,
See?
It's like, wait, did you hear the same thing I heard?
Taylor
He just said he doesn't watch them right now.
Taylor really misses those modes. Remember when video games used to have, when you beat the game, you could just go in the menu and watch the cutscenes?
Yeah.
He really misses those
They don't
modes
have
in
those
video
anymore.
games. I know, he's just like begging for it. Oh boy.
Now you can't do that on YouTube.
No, you can't. Not with Nintendo games. I won't be able to go back and watch those Mario Odyssey cutscenes.
I've never done that with Nintendo games, so
Yeah,
we
that's
might do on.
I don't even
slightly
know if
different
Nintendo allows you to go back and watch the cutscenes.
Not anymore.
Their
Right.
options menus are very small. Like,
You know, watch some
can't
of
do
those
much.
Smash Brothers cinematics. Those are pretty good.
Those are like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I know.
I'll agree.
Smash Brothers
I'll
never
agree
really
there.
have cinematics.
What are we
Trailers,
on
I
to
don't know.
here, Travis?
They have some cool ones actually. I don't know. Anyway, so
we were gonna cover this last week, but we had some technical
we have
difficulties.
quite a few.
True.
So a little older news, but it's the September top 10 best-selling video games. So, does anyone want to take a poke at number one? Okay, it was Madden 18. So your top 10 were Madden 18, speaking of GTA, GTA 5, Uncharted The Lost Legacy at 3, Splatoon number 2, Splatoon 2 at 4, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 5 still, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Siege 6 or 6 Siege.
Rainbow
Six
Siege.
Siege. 6.
Wait, it's actually called Rainbow Six Siege?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yikes.
that's why, you know.
Is this a poem or a video game? Come on, make up your mind.
7 Mario Kart 8.
Is that
8
deluxe or is that the Wii U version?
It just says, I imagine it's the deluxe.
The original, like the first one on the SNES.
It's great. I can't wait. Well, I was going to do for the Gauntlet, but I'll talk about the SNES in a second. 8 was Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. 9, The Bandicoot, still up there. And 10, Overwatch. Any thoughts on this? We usually did this before, but
That's
we just...
interesting,
It
man.
all
It's
kind
been
of
a
makes
while.
sense.
Yeah.
That's interesting, man. It's
Fairly
been a while
reasonable.
though.
I still think it's insane that GTA 5 is still like
Yeah, number 2.
number 2.
I think it has like
Why
some...
is Minecraft on that list?
What? I know Minecraft's
Oh, it's
fine.
13.
13.
Oh, okay.
GTA came and bopped it. I don't... If you look at the top 10, I don't think there's anything... I'm not surprised,
No,
man. Is
no.
up
How
there.
long has GTA been on there since it came out? Hey?
I think maybe a few weeks here and there it's been off, but like pretty consistently. Like best selling game of all time.
It,
So.
it doesn't really surprise me, but it's interesting to see that Overwatch is still
I was-
up there. 'Cause
yeah,
that
I was
game's
gonna
been out
say
for
too.
what, a year and a half, 2 years now,
Year
or
and-
something
a
like that?
year and a half.
So it's getting there. It hasn't released on any
No.
new consoles recently.
Yeah.
So, and I know we were just complaining about Nintendo, but I like to see that they have some
Still
games
play it.
up there on the list.
Well, the two.
And games that didn't come out, because Splatoon 2 came out in August, I guess, right? Or July?
No, it was July, so still
Okay.
it's holding
So
strong.
yeah, I like to see that.
Those were the two. I was gonna show Splatoon, and like I'm biased, but I'm still gonna show Crash. Pretty impressive from Crash. 1 month was, I think it was 1, and then it was 2, and then 8 now, and that's pretty well. And Splatoon, I think, was 1 or 2 in July.
Yeah, it was really high.
And
up
now
there.
it's 4. So those two games, which are they're more family oriented. Like to be honest, I think like Splatoon has like an older audience at times, but they're Nintendo. So anytime Nintendo, there's been more family. So those are doing well. Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered, I'm not surprised, just because.
Classic.
Rainbow Six Siege is a little weird.
I'm
for me.
very surprised about that,
Yeah.
but it
That's
has a
been
very,
long.
it's got a very competitive.
When did
like,
that
online.
release?
While
A
back.
long time ago.
They did a lot of updates and add-ons to online, like you were saying. For a while, like it's a different game. Like, Ubisoft is having a good year. They might not get bought up by Vivendi anymore, if you've heard. But that, and at one point, Ghost Recon Wildlands was like the best-selling game of the year. I don't think it's that anymore because some games
Yeah.
come out, but still, for like a Ubisoft just kind of shooter that's an old franchise, like
That's
they're
cool.
doing, and For Honor sold really well. Like all their games are selling really well
I'm
this
sure
year.
Assassin's
So.
Creed will as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember how well Mario that Rabbids game sold when that came out. Was that last
It's not
month?
on the list, hey?
It's not even in the top 20.
That game's out now, definitely.
Yeah, it's not in the top 20. Agent of Mayhem. Oof,
Yikes.
16. Not doing good.
What is that?
That was a game that the Saints Row people put out like just this month or past month, and it's
Oh.
not. It's kind of
Never heard of
bombing.
it.
It's like a Battlefront situation.
They're a one-trick pony, apparently.
Mhm. Taylor, you want to talk about the Battlefront modes or whatnot, everything you have? Because you can probably break it down better than I have.
Break it down now.
I didn't look full into the modes. I was looking more into what we're getting in the beta.
What's in the beta?
When's beta come
The
out?
one mode I'll shout out is arcade mode. I like that.
Oh,
it's
wow.
literally just the game was really lacking if you just want to get in there and play against some CPU and whatnot, so you can have those partners. I think you could probably play 2-player in that mode, so it could be like you as Darth Maul and you'll verse like 10 waves of enemies. I love that type of shit. I love the Lord of the Rings PlayStation 2 game, and I'd just be Aragorn going through 20 waves to see how long I can survive. So once again, for me, it's just that this game has like a lot more content and modes than the last one, and that's where I wasn't. I keep going back and forth day one, but they're really selling me. Every like few weeks, it's like, oh, in this mode, in this mode. So yeah, I'll try and find out when the beta is. What he's talking.
I already have it. Yeah.
Okay.
The open beta is October 6th, but if you pre-order, you get October 4th.
Oh,
and
snap!
Oh, I gotta pre-order it.
I wonder how many elitists are going to be like, I gotta play 2
I'm
days
gonna be there
early."
October 4th. I'm gonna get a video. I'm gonna put it up. I mean, both of us could try it if you wanna
Both
come
of you,
over
do
and
you
play
pre-order?
it.
I'm down.
Oh,
no,
sour.
but I'll come over.
Well,
'cause-
thanks for the invite.
You wanna play too?
Yeah.
You know what? Screw it.
Okay.
Everyone, the fans, come on over. We'll all have a.
I won't.
Post your address.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it.
What's your postal code again?
I know your post.
Shout that out to the fans so they can
I'll
come
just
too.
shout out my address.
Yeah.
I want to shout out my SIN number too.
Hashtag safe animal.
Gosh, thanks everyone.
But yeah, no, it's it comes with 3 game modes for the beta. So Galactic Assault, and I like this too because Galactic Assault is basically what we saw back at EA. It's basically on
I thought you said Galactic Salt.
Galactic
That
Salt.
sounds
You just stormtroopers. Take this, rebels.
But yeah, that's on the new.
Rebel scum.
Take this!
Yeah, that's like you sound more like a robot. Take this.
I didn't say I wasn't a robot. though.
Roger.
Yeah, that's true.
Salt.
But yeah, so Naboo Clone Wars era, and then Starfighter Assault we get, which I'm loving. It's Civil War, take down a Star Destroyer.
Captain America in there.
Captain
huh?
America, and then the Strike and Arcade mode you were talking about, 8 versus 8, single player or online, and it's the sequel trilogy era, so it's on Maz's Castle map, which I think is really cool.
Looks beautiful too.
All the maps in that new trailer we got was absolutely fantastic. Seeing that and the characters, the classes. They did
Really showing
also.
off Darth Maul. Yeah.
Yeah,
They
we
love
finally
Darth
got to use this
Yeah.
fucking guy.
They did show off a new trailer for the storyline, the campaign. Did you see that trailer by chance?
No, I try to stay away from the storylines.
Yeah, it wasn't too revealing. I won't spoil or anything, but it was very cool to see where they're going after the events of Episode 6. It's very, very neat how it's going to tie in.
Nifty.
So is there Galactic Conquest?
I would assume that's like Walker Galactic Conquest. You mean like the game mode, like 20 versus 20, or
No.
No,
like the
I know
original
what you're talking about.
Battlefront?
It's like a star map, and you have
Oh,
your story.
Yeah,
you have to like build
Star
up your
Destroyer, then
fleet.
you have to capture planets.
That
and
was
you
like-
can
that was
make
my
more
favorite
Star
thing.
Destroyers or buy upgrades for your
I don't
troops,
think it's the
or
direction
buy
they're
heroes,
heading.
something
Dude,
like
that was my favorite.
Battlefront 3.
Why don't they just remake Star Wars Battlefront 2 and then
They are.
have
Yes,
it
they
with
wanna-
really good games?
They don't
like,
want to get the Force
better
Awakens
graphics.
treatment where you will say that and then people will be like, it's just the same game. We can't have this.
But
it's
I
a
want
retread.
the same game.
It's a retread.
I
I
don't
people like
there's-
to say that
There's
word.
still a
I feel like
large,
everyone
That's Galactic
wants that,
Salt.
though.
That's Galactic Salt. Right
there's
there.
still a large community for Battlefront 2, like with the Galactic Conquest and everything. So
Well, I played that.
No,
Nintendo
but it's like
shut down
dated.
soon.
it's definitely very dated. I mean, why don't they just make that but newer?
I don't know. I mean, I'd go back and play the original Battlefront still, or the
But
second
why would you
one.
do that when you can buy the new one for
Because it
$60?
doesn't have Galactic Conquest.
There you go.
There you go.
Galactic
If
Salt.
they put Galactic Conquest, that's my $80 there.
I think for a lot
I
of
think that's a
people-
lie.
It
I
probably
don't
is
think you'll-
but I am significantly more invested into purchasing this one than the last
You're
one.
not spending 80 buckaroos.
I think
PC
for the
games.
most
Monsters.
part, the fact that they got the campaign and all 3 eras is what's really sold people this time, especially with more
Conquest
multiplayer
sells to
options.
more people.
I'll disagree. I think story more, honestly.
Story more?
I think people could give a fuck about the prequels other than Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Jar Jar?
I mean, it's nice to have that.
I don't know.
I don't
I
think
like-
I don't
I
think
like
the prequel era is
Is that
bad
it?
for
Yeah.
video game wise because
Yeah.
there are a lot of cool characters. Like if you can play as
General Grievous is a legend of the
Yeah,
game.
exactly. If you can play as Grievous, just
Four
fucking
lightsabers.
spin your
My favorite Star Wars
lightsabers
character.
around.
Is
But
it?
I'm
That's
saying
great.
if they come to you and they're saying, hey, Tyler, we're going to give you this game for free, but you can only have one, prequel era maps or story mode, what would you take?
Oh,
Story mode,
snap.
100%.
Yeah, and that's what I think.
Wait,
I'm
you're
saying-
just saying prequel though. I mean like all the addition, everything outside of the Civil War trilogy.
Okay, okay, same thing. More maps or story mode?
Why not Star Wars Battlefront 2, which has both?
I'm just saying that existed. They took it, they shot in the back. Like I think all of us would take the story mode, and that's it. I'm not saying that
100%
doesn't
story
help.
mode.
I'm saying that stuff. I see that. Oh, that's super cool. I can play on Starkiller base, and I'm saying I think story mode when they dropped that trailer at E3 was everyone was talking about like okay, I'm invested. Even Kirk was like, oh, I might think about getting it. Where last year people were like, no story mode. I'm not gonna touch it. They could have added every fucking map. You could have gone and played on Dr. Seuss's Cat in the Hat world. people wouldn't have bought the game.
I would have.
It's so now.
I don't mean close, but
I
I'm
think
pre-ordering
it's,
it for those 2 days extra.
I think it's a story mode, and I think if the story mode is great, that'll help it immensely. I think if it's bad, that could put sales down a little lower because people are going to be. I think this is not as big as a day one as last year because the hype has gone down a bit for Star Wars.
For me as a Star Wars fan, I don't see how. I mean, yes, storylines can be bad, but as this, where they're taking off in this direction, it's from an Imperial point of view where the Death Star's blown up, and we don't really get to see that outside of the books.
That doesn't matter. When you on paper say, hey, the story of how Anakin became Darth Vader, that sounds fucking great. Look at what happened. It does. You can be like, we've not got this perspective, but if it's a bad version of that perspective, that doesn't sell it.
Yeah, but this isn't prequel like
It
that.
technically is.
No, this is after the original trilogy.
Is it a prequel to Force Awakens? Why didn't they make a game after Force Awakens?
That's a whole different story.
Yeah, but
there's no
it-
Jar Jar in Force Awakens.
I'm saying Dylan is not like, man, they're exploring what happened after
I know,
episode
because
6.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
We're different Star Wars fans. on
I
this
know, but that's
caliber.
what you said.
You gotta
I just-
capture me.
I'm actually very excited about the story. Like, I think that what happened after.
I agree,
that's
but like I
pretty
said,
cool.
were you all excited for the prequels? And then when you watch them all, you're like,
I
man,
was.
they didn't do these that
Ah!
I was excited for the prequel.
Yes, but look at
I
it
mean,
now. It killed
also,
Star
I mean,
You
Wars.
as a
changed the
child, it
question.
wasn't
You
that
asked him,
bad.
were you excited? He said yes, and then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, but look at them
Yeah,
now.
but
yeah,
You
but
changed
then-
it.
no. But then I said,
one at a time. They can't hear anything.
okay, I said, were you excited? And then after, I said, look at what happened. You're saying, oh, it's a new story that's never been explored. That's a great idea, but if reviews come out and say, hey, this is fucking awful, people be like, I don't need to explore that story. I'll hear Taylor tell me about it on GeekVerse News.
I don't know. I think
Probably
this is
true.
gonna be fantastic because at the end of the day, we don't know anything that really happens between episode 6 and 7, and we get to not only read it about in the book, but we get to actually experience it firsthand.
There's quite a bit of like additional material that will probably fill in, not included in the game.
I think the story will be good.
But-
You will not have to play this game to enhance the movies at all. I'm sorry, Taylor.
No, I'm not saying you have to.
Nothing. I'm
not saying you have to, but I'm just
you're
saying
hyping
like.
up a little much.
And I think it's great to be able to fill in the void because that's 30 years that we don't really know a lot about.
I don't think
so.
the game's gonna take place.
A lot
in
can happen in
30
30
though.
years.
I could, because they say
It
at one
very well
point you
could.
play in the story mode as Luke Skywalker and as Kylo Ren. So I think there is a little bit of a. I think time jumps. So I don't think you play like. You're
So you don't
61.
play, like,
It's a
the same-
30-year-hour
Right.
game.
Yeah, you can't. It takes 30 years. to
Very
play
cool.
Massive campaign.
They got those Red Dead time jumps.
Full
you know.
VR. We put you in a hospital bed, hook you up to
Nice.
tubes.
So you can't
I
play
got
like
it,
2
I got
weeks.
heated.
They gotta recover.
It's Roy.
What
Great
else?
game.
I got one thing shout out, but I'll do it at the end.
I don't know,
Game
man.
news,
That's been a while.
game news. What do I got? Well, I got some good game news here.
Let's hear it.
Tell us.
Halo Wars 2. I gotta talk about this. This is,
Did you play it?
I have played it.
You
I
own
did.
it?
I just got it, and it's great. No, the new DLC came out, the Awakening of the Nightmare, and we get to see the Flood come back. So
Snap.
this time around,
In what sense? You get to play as the Flood?
no,
Oh, no. That's disappointing.
but
I'm out.
I'm
Not
spoilers here, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe not. Should I do spoilers or
No.
No. Oh, okay, whatever.
That's why you would do a
Yeah,
solo
No
cast for
reason
that.
for spoilers.
You can spoil it, but just to me. Just directly at me.
Look at his eyes. Go, go.
Okay, Dylan.
No, quiet.
You have to tell me with your eyes.
Yeah, go.
Oh, that is scary. Nice.
No, like the campaign is great. Like seeing the Flood basically make its comeback and how they explain how the Flood comes back after
Guess who's back?
Halo 3, and obviously it's continuing on the arc, which is a given. But how? What?
Continue. I just like, which is a given.
If you played Halo Wars 2, you know it's on the arc, but it's very cool to see how Halo 3's ending tied in with this, and just how it for me, it just nods back and forth between the two games, and they're separated by so many decades, or so many years, not decades.
Halo
Jesus
3 is a great
Christ.
game.
Christ.
But it's
Why did you say Jesus Christ?
I said decades, but really the Halo 3 and Halo were just separated by only a few years.
It's been decades.
I guess like 5 years. But it's just how the Flood comes in and being able to play from the Banished point of view and being able to play as like the Brutes especially and
That's cool.
their interaction
Hammer?
with the Flood, huh?
Gravity Hammer?
Gravity
Ball.
hammers.
Pretty cool. Grab ball? Is that what it is?
Yeah, you missing
Grab
Griff Ball?
Oh, grip ball. That's what it's called.
Grip
yeah.
ball.
But I mean, I've only been able to play through the campaign. I'm on the last mission. I was hoping to
Oh.
complete
He's too
the
busy
campaign.
watching the cutscenes.
I have. Okay,
Should've called in sick to work today.
The cutscenes, like, kid you know, like, if you want to see my reaction, go check out
Are they better than
my
Halo Wars, the
playthrough.
original cutscenes?
The Halo Wars. Oh,
Halo Wars had some pretty good cutscenes.
they were really good, but I mean, the Halo Wars 2 cutscenes alone were better than the Halo Wars.
Oh,
They were
snap.
fantastic.
Snap.
I never
So
used
Halo
to do it.
Shocker.
Remember the kids back then used to do that.
So Halo
I don't
Wars
know if
2
you're actually-
cutscenes are better
I
than
can
Halo
never
Wars
do it.
1
I was doing that
cutscenes.
today.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Where are
cool.
you?
In the
Okay.
bathroom.
Okay.
Then
Can you?
the Awakening
What's
Nightmares
that?
cutscenes, they're just fantastic. Seeing the Flood and the Brutes and their interaction was just fantastic. But I mean,
Again, where can they see your reaction on?
yeah, they can see my reaction to the first cutscene on my. I just played through the first mission. It's on YouTube. Basically, it's just
Our channel, you gotta say that.
yeah, it's on. No, it's just on YouTube.
It's just on
It's on
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah,
It's on Nintendo's account.
New, it's the #1 trending video. So
Yeah.
you'll
You'll
Yeah,
find it. It might
um,
say like Rihanna,
and
sexy
it'll
girl,
probably be there for
but
at least a
it's-
year, I would think. So you should have
Decades.
trouble finding it.
Decades,
Decades.
yeah.
5 whole years worth of decades.
But I mean,
we bought the ad time.
they've added 2 new leaders, 2 new Brute leaders, and they've added a new firefight mode with Flood. They've just added new units and everything. Like I've only touched the tip of the iceberg with this DLC.
Oh, snap.
Like the downside, as I said in the video, was it was not included in the season's pass, and I did not like that because at the end
I
of the
can
day,
want
understand why you
anyways.
wouldn't like that.
it's like $30 DLC. That's a lot of money,
Oh,
but I mean,
yikes.
I'm a
I
huge
could
Halo
buy the
fan.
game.
I'm a huge Halo fan, and I love the Flood. I love these expansion
You
packs.
should just give them your PIN number. And
I
let them-
should have. Well, Xbox
Say
already
your
has
mind
it.
on please.
Xbox has that like
Oh, right.
feature.
He's
I
gonna,
like
he's
that
gonna fund
today.
the next game.
How many times have you said flood this review?
Flood.
I swear you've said
I
that.
like what
His
like
emotions are
holy
flooding out.
Flood.
It's
I
pronounced
just love
fluid,
the Flood.
actually.
Fluid.
Now you gotta re-say everything.
The Fluid, you know. I mean, just it's. I love the expansion pack so much, and I just can't wait to finish it. And maybe the next newscast, I'll give you the spoiler review or something. I don't know.
Well, there's not a newscast for a while, so have fun with that.
That's okay. Then people can. Play
I want to
it
hear
and
if you think
enjoy
it's worth 30 bones by the end.
Yeah.
You haven't finished it yet. You can't
I
say
haven't.
it.
I haven't finished it yet, but where I'm at, out of the
For
$30,
$29.
out of the $30 I spent, I definitely gotten to a point where at least $15 have been well spent of that, and
Okay.
when I touch the rest of the DLC, we'll know if the other $15 was worth
Right.
it as well. So, I'm definitely. If you're an average video game player, I mean, there's no reason.
What does that even mean?
If you're a casual and you play like
Oh,
every
there we
Friday
go. There's
night,
Carl!
I mean, if you're definitely out there to get like not the $79 version of a game, but you get those $100 versions of a game, you know, maybe this is the game for you. So you know, I mean,
But it's only $30.
this is an expansion. You have to still buy the game itself.
But he hasn't played the last
itself.
mission yet.
Huh?
How much is the game itself?
It's like
Very
$70.
clear.
Well, actually, now it's like $40 if you get it, because it's gone down in
If you get
price. But I mean,
Now it's a full price.
It could be zero though. It could be zero.
if you're a
That's
hardcore.
a grilled cheese sandwich.
If you're a hardcore RTS fan and you absolutely love Halo, this is definitely an expansion pack for you.
Okay, you've
Is it
said
on
that 3
PC?
times.
Is it on
Let's
PC?
go.
Yeah, it's on Windows 10. So there you go.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Windows
I don't
7?
not on Steam, but the
Oh.
Windows Store.
I'll look for. What? What about Green Man Gaming?
That's so
You could-
weird though
you could
because
try.
the original Halo Wars is on Steam.
They put it on Steam, so it's
Yeah.
coming.
It's a long
So
story.
I'm sure it's coming.
Maybe, do you
Phil
know the
Spencer.
story?
Learn it from a friend of a friend.
Honestly,
Honestly,
in like 5 years when it's on Steam, I'll probably play it.
In a few decades.
Because I like
When
RPGs.
Halo Wars 3 is out,
Yeah.
you'll play Halo Wars 2.
That's probably when they'll release it.
No, I'll play the first one because I haven't played that one
Oh,
yet.
there you go.
Okay, cool. Alright.
If I said it's all everybody else.
Yeah, they put out a new COD World War II storyline trailer, and I have to say, like,
Go ahead. keep
Wait,
going.
say that one
I
more
wanna
they
try-
put out a new Call of Duty World War II
Oh.
campaign trailer.
World War 11, you mean?
World War 11.
One of my favorites.
There's no way that's actually.
I don't think that's the thing, but
I don't know what Travis is going
This
for.
guy-
It's going for a meme.
yeah, mean.
Okay, tell us about the thing.
I have nothing to say on Call of
I
Duty.
know,
No. Wouldn't I ever be like, wow, Taylor, you know what? I want to discuss
You're
this.
just staring off at the fans like
What
you're
you
a
mean?
little like
That actually did happen once, but it ended in me being really disappointed knowing that Zombies wasn't a standalone game.
If the
So
topic
I
is,
am done asking questions about
if
Call
the
of
topic
Duty.
is Halo, Call of Duty, or Pokemon, you cannot look to me for an opinion.
Well, you know, the trailer looks absolutely fantastic. As opposed to other Call of Duty games, minus Advanced Warfare, where I don't know what the fudge was going on. I mean, this campaign looks awesome. It looks like it can start its own storyline with its all fresh new characters, and it's going to take you to wondrous places in a dark time. And I think
Wondrous.
Yeah, I'm sure
That's
all
a
the
weird way to
veterans would
describe
describe World War II as wondrous.
I'm so sorry.
While sunny is a wondrous time.
I'm so sorry. All of our veteran listeners.
Yeah, there's a lot of them tuning in for Halo Team Talk.
Oh god.
Okay, what else you got?
so
Taylor
sorry.
top
Great
10.
storyline trailer. Move along.
Again, Assassin's Creed.
No,
They,
no.
Oh no! It's the best of today. Pokemon's next. I can feel it.
they released a new cinematic today.
Wow, why not more gameplay?
It wasn't gameplay. It was a cinematic.
I know, why not?
Oh.
They've shown like 500 cinematics. I get it, you're in Egypt. Show me some damn gameplay or else I'm not going to buy this game.
There's several half-hour gameplay videos that you can watch that
I don't
touch
want to
on.
watch
And
that.
you know-
I want like a
and you
nice
know
little gameplay trailer.
And you know where
There is
people
that.
You know where people break that down?
Geeks Creed.
Crush some Geeks. I'm crushing Geeks.
Where can they find that?
They can find us on
was-
YouTube.
Underground and
Search
Sexy
for
Girl.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that
number
channel.
2 trending.
Crush some Geeks Creed.
You gotta work on your promotion games.
This is great. I love this.
I was almost worried he was gonna shout out a different Assassin's Creed
Yeah.
podcast. Like, oh, this one show does a great.
Yeah.
Not ours though.
Okay.
Boom.
You done?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. You like how I tricked him and
Alright.
didn't actually talk about it? I just skipped past it.
Oh, where could they watch that cinematic?
They can watch the cinematic. I posted it to our Facebook page. It's also on my page, Assassin's Creed Universe. Check it out. Great
Don't
stuff.
bother.
Check it out. It's good.
What about you, fellow chaps? Do you have any gaming news?
Negative.
No,
No?
sir. Red Dead as well, I think.
Okay, I just want to shout out. I did get this SNES Classic today. Yeah. I
What
know.
did you just say?
I got the SNES Classic, the SNES Classic,
SNES.
or the SNES Classic.
NES.
It's a lot of fun.
Very catchy.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like, I'd recommend people get it, but that's gonna be tough. The coolest thing is, it's super. We were eating burgers today. Super light, like in a compact. It's like obviously I know it's made. You can take it anywhere. The coolest thing is the actual dashboard for me. The games look good. It plays well. It's nice to have that controller back in my
Is it
hands.
the original?
But yeah, it's the original. Except they have the Wii U and the Wii plugins because they probably made like millions of those. So the controller plugs in that way. There's this annoying thing where it's the OG remote plugins, where you gotta take that down to get to the real plugins. So they want to make it look all cool.
I see.
Yeah, so when you hit the
Cringe.
reset button though, it takes you right. It works as like a regular dashboard as it would today. So it feels very much like the old console, but just updated. You hit reset and it brings you to the dashboard where all the games are there. When you go to like Super Mario World, you can go. There's options. You hit B and hit down, and you can see all your saves. If you hit reset or quit a game, it'll auto save and ask you if you want to keep that save file or get rid of it. So I was just expecting just kind of an emulator, play the games. It's just little stuff, but things like that, like the dashboard, the savings.
Attention to detail is there, yeah.
Yeah, like it is great. It is this thing of like I'm gonna play a lot because there's a lot of games on there that I love. So that just made it a lot better. The controllers are a little longer, but I bought extension cords just to be sure. But it's great so far. I haven't played everything on there, but like I said, I played the old Mario.
About 30 games, something like
21. 20
Oh,
games, then
yikes.
plus Star Fox 2, which I'm excited to play. Even though people
Right.
have said it's a bad game, I'm excited to play it because who knows? You gotta beat the first mission in Star Fox to unlock it though. So you got
that.
that.
Sounds difficult.
Yeah, the very
Ooh.
first Mario. I have not played Super Mario Kart in forever. It's lots of fun, even though it's so basic, bitch.
I don't think I've ever played the original, man.
We're gonna do it.
Yeah.
For, like items, you legitimately have to be pretty talented to hit someone with an item. Me and Emily tried out battle mode today, which I had in the very first Super Mario Kart. I did not know. It's a little tricky to even get a red shell sometimes, like to hit it. You gotta. It's not.
Really?
Yeah. You sometimes just shoot it and it'll just go off to the side. Like if no one's if they're not right in the middle. But it's lots of fun. Donkey Kong for some reason is wearing a white singlet in the game.
Oh, nice.
Very strange. But it
Very
was.
sensual.
Yeah, I didn't get the NES because I have that. I have all those games and it's cool that the mini one was. This made me want to get an N64 when I have to. But just how compact it is, how nice it is just to hook an HDMI up and I can play it on my 50-inch screen instead of. You have that problem with Smash too sometimes where some TVs it doesn't work with GameCube or component, right? So that's what so if they make an N64, if they make a GameCube one, we just complain about Nintendo, but they got my money because it's a fun, next time I'm over, we're gonna bring it over because it's just, it is really cool and I was happy with it because it was, for us, come to $100 and I was like, do I need that? It's older games. There's some I really want to play and I went to, I do, and it was worth it. It's really cool. So
Nice.
I'm happy I got it. So movie news, we're switching over, so if you don't want to move your TV, I guess you can jump out now. We did not get to talk about. We talked about some other trailers last week that were not aired for the viewers. One we did get around to, so hopefully you guys remember Tomb Raider, the trailer. The movie's coming out. I'll double check. I think it's March next year. But Tomb Raider, hot off the heels off Warcraft, Assassin's Creed, another video game movie. Dylan Musk, what did you feel about this trailer?
It's at this point it's kind of just a glimmer in my memory. I can't picture it scene for scene, but I don't know. It looked a little disappointing, honestly, from what I remember. I honestly can't remember a whole lot of it, but I don't know how I feel about the actress, the main character.
Wow. Taking shots at Mrs. Fassbender.
Well, I'm not really taking shots.
No, I agree with you though.
Something about her just didn't
Mrs.
click.
Fassbender.
She just doesn't fill up to Angelina Jolie, man. That's my original Tomb Raider.
Mrs. Fassbender, shoot.
She is Michael Fassbender.
She was the robot
Yes.
in
Really?
Ex Machina.
Yeah, she's a fantastic actress.
Is she?
Yeah, I like her.
Oh,
in that
cool.
movie.
Nice. Yeah, I honestly don't remember a whole lot of it,
Fair enough.
unfortunately. So.
I don't like it.
You what?
I don't like it at
Okay.
all.
It's
I-
not very
I-
Okay, I wasn't sure.
I just hope it. I don't know. It is gonna happen, I guess, but
Yeah, we can't stop
I
it
just
now.
don't want it to happen.
Okay.
'Cause I don't know. I feel like it's trying to recreate the feel that the original, like the new original, like the
The reboot.
reboot
Yeah.
Tomb Raider games gave, and I don't think it's doing it well at all. And I think it's gonna be really bad. And I think that's not only gonna be my opinion. I think there's gonna be quite a few people who don't like it. But I think I'm gonna especially not like it because I love the game so much. So
Yeah.
and yeah, I think I couldn't say anything, like couldn't name any actors off the top of my head, but I feel like there could have been better role for it who looks more similar to the actual the model in the game, I guess. If you want to call it. I don't know. I think there are better choices to be made, and I'd rather them just make another great game than come out with a movie and just try and.
Well, they're separate studios.
I mean, yeah, but they're pretty much just trying to. The way I see it right now is they're just trying to take what was like awesome and really popular and super hype, and they're just like, hey, let's make something with the same title and cash in on the hype because we can, and I think it's gonna be really bad. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be rotten. I think it's gonna be a rotten film. I not so much hating it towards Tyler, but it's one of the, like I don't think I'll spend the effort of watching it, like even if it's just like on Netflix or something.
Cool.
But it's like I don't know, like I agree with you. Like I love the games. I thought they were fantastic, and I feel like if you want to experience this, just go play the games. I feel like it'll be better. And like the opening scenes, I'm like, this is exactly what happens. Like she's on the ship. The ship
but it's
crashes.
like different places.
Yeah, no,
different
exactly.
times,
Yeah,
like,
it's very
Just like
similar,
me.
and it's just I feel like it's very similar, but just like not nearly as good on the quality. I mean, it's a trailer. I can't say much.
Can I ask, because you guys both brought this up, how come, I feel like you both say like they can't do the adaptation of the video game when we have so many movies that are adaptation of books that are very similar to that? And that's my thing, when you're like, oh, that's doing it better, but like, we have book adaptations, like, oh, they're just adapting a book. They're doing that with this video game. They're just like, oh, we're going to make the movie version of this video game, you know?
Well, how
That's
come it
what-
didn't work on World of Warcraft or
What?
something like
I
that?
think
Well, yeah,
fucking
no,
that
it didn't,
was
but
really bad.
I think it could work. I'm saying, like, should they not make any video game movies? I guess that's what I'm saying, because they're all going to be adaptation of
I mean,
the video game, right?
If it's, I don't know. Like I feel like they could do something along the lines, not like since we talked about Red Dead Redemption, like not follow that story, just have in that universe and then name it that. I mean, I guess that's similar to what they did with Warcraft.
I would disagree,
actually.
because for me, we just had that with Dark Tower, where we had, not based on the books, it's in the Dark Tower universe, bombed, rotten, everyone hated it, it's forgotten, you know? So I think there's a double-edged sword to that as well.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're gonna play around here, so.
I don't know. I feel like it could happen. It's
Yeah.
just it's hard to say because there hasn't been a good example to use.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we're gonna make a good movie. No, put a little
Yeah.
more effort into it. I don't know. Maybe they're probably putting, not to like throw shade at them, because they probably are putting a lot of effort into it. But I don't know. I'd probably just say don't make them it because it looks bad for me.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I like the original Tomb Raiders with Angelina Jolie, but like I haven't seen them in so long.
Yeah, they're not
so
good.
exactly.
Yeah.
I just have those good memories.
I think one thing that'll be interesting to see the difference between the video game and the movie is like how realistic it is, because I feel like the video game in many ways it was trying to be very realistic, but you just can't do that in video games for the most part. It just doesn't work. Yeah. So I'm curious if the movie is gonna try and go for that like realistic vibe, or if it's gonna be you know, like kind of over the top as you would expect for like a video game movie, or what
Yeah.
you would previously have expected from a video game movie.
Yeah.
Taylor, you're always Mr. Positive.
You know, I mean, watching the trailer, I thought, you know, this looks like an adventure that I would want to go on, and
Have you played the games?
Of Lara Croft.
I haven't played the recent one, but I know.
But you played the original.
The reboot.
The reboot one? Which one was that?
Tomb Raider.
It was like the first
2013.
remake. Yeah.
2013, and then
It was the one where she's
there
in
was
the
the
ship,
Tomb Raider
and then
in
it
2013,
crashes.
and then there was Rise of the Tomb
I can't
Raider,
remember because I
which
played.
is-
I played one of the
2015?
older ones on PC.
Yeah, no, it's not
No,
the same.
that's
Oh, okay.
completely-
I haven't been too
completely
current
different.
with the Tomb Raider games. I mean, I played the older ones, but
Great game.
New ones,
Um,
great games. They're
I haven't
very
played the
good.
newest, but
I
It's
think
good.
at the end of the day, you know, I'm just gonna have to sit down, give it a good watch, and see how it does. I mean, I'm with you. Like, I love the old Angelina Jolie ones.
oh yeah.
I mean, every time when I turn on the cable and I'm looking through channels and I see the Cradle of Life one turn on, I'm thinking, you know, I'm gonna watch that and go. Angelina Jolie's there and
The Credo of Life.
Cradle of Life.
Cradle.
The creed of life.
The Credo
Assassin's
of
Creed
Life.
of life.
Credo of life.
And like even like, you know, wasn't Daniel Craig in
Yeah.
you know,
GeekVerse.
and
Yeah.
Yeah, Gerard Butler.
Gerard Butler, you know, there's some great actors in those
There were.
movies, you know, and they, for me, they still hold up there like as being like just a classically good like
A classically
video
good
game adaptation.
Taylor's would be classically good.
It's funny 'cause when I think of the old Tomb Raiders, I don't even I didn't think that those were like video game movies.
Yeah.
Because of the original. Yeah.
That's the thing that I like too, is because like if you base it off of the video game, you have to meet certain standards. But with that, like it did a good point of just it had the same name, but it did its own interpretation and managed to stand up on its own 2 feet and not
I
stand.
did not, Taylor. Those are awful movies.
Really? I quite
No,
enjoyed
they're
them.
I feel like
horrible.
you'd be
They're
waiting
well
to say
disliked
this.
by a lot of people.
Really?
Yeah, they're all rotten.
Oh,
People
shit.
don't like those movies. So before you're giving this like thing like you're talking about Peter Jackson adapting Lord of the Rings, like oh it stood on its own. No, it didn't do any of that. It fell. The only reason people went to go see it is because Jolie was hot back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
She was hot. I meant like not try to be like big name like Jolie. She's huge name.
She's attractive, yeah.
Not too great. Yeah. I'm gonna take it because I'm the complete opposite, and no way do I feel like this is gonna be around me in our top 10s. I looked. No video game movie has fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, from Super Mario's to Warcraft. All of them are rotten. I think this will be the first. I think it could be like a 62, but I think it looks good enough and it's gonna be simple enough. We always talk about video game movies. They're doing all these side things like a Warcraft Assassin's Creed. Always sees about
5 plot lines going on
yeah,
simultaneously.
where this is about a girl trying to find stuff on an island and then get off the island. And to me, they literally create shots from the video game, even moments where it goes silent and you just hear a breath. I felt was a good adaptation from the video game. I think like Dylan was talking about, there will be some cheekiness because like some tongue in cheek, because at the end they're like looking at guns and she's like, I'll take 2, and she throws those 2 up there. So I think there's gonna be, I hope, a good mix. We talk about all the time that it's tough to mix those well, but I think they're gonna do as realistic as possible. But then there's also like weird gods in these games, you know, so they can't, if they go that route, they can't, there's curses and everything and witches too, so it's like they have to play that. So it's not an uber realistic game already, unless it's just like, oh, they're just taking out a guy. And the cast for me is great. You guys probably don't like. Yeah, she is from Ex Machina. She's an Academy Award-winning actress.
Yeah, she's great.
She's fantastic. I think she's gonna kill this. She's phenomenal. Yeah, she's with Fassbender, so I'm a little biased there, but she's great in everything. Walter Goggins is a super underrated actor. He's the antagonist in this. He's the guy that's like greeting her on the island. He's phenomenal. So I think this is gonna be a good movie as far as just like a fun popcorn flick, because I think it's just going to be a basic story. That's why I think it will succeed. It has a great actor. It has a great director. I've not looked into his work, but I hear, because he did a lot of foreign stuff, it's really well praised, so I'm looking at it when it gets closer. But I don't know, something about it. I did not look at it with Warcraft and Assassin's Creed and got the vibe that it was like those two. I thought this has a chance because it's just pretty basic. Assassin's Creed is about a guy who goes like into the past. Warcraft is about trolls. This is just a girl on an island.
They're orcs.
Whatever.
Trolls.
Whatever it is, you
You
know.
just annihilated
Triggered
half of
trolls.
our fan base.
Yeah, I feel like
Welcome.
the reason why I'm thinking of it as a video game is because like the scene is literally
Yeah.
the scene.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah.
So,
Like, 100% of the trailer looks exactly like parts from the reboot game.
yeah.
Yeah,
so-
and I don't think that's a bad thing, because when it works, it works. You guys don't get
Yeah.
that experience, but in comic books, when they do stuff like Civil War and there's moments, that's when it can work. Comic book or video game movies are on the cusp. They could be the next comic book movies. They could get a big boom. They've just not have a Richard Donner Superman. They've not have that. I mean, they've not have that one great one.
Mm-hmm.
So I think them using that is a good way, because you guys are saying, oh, they're just recreating that. My mom doesn't know that. Lots still.
Well,
I
I
don't
mean-
think you'll know the recreating
It's
shots.
true, yeah.
You know, like
Well, so in the Tomb Raider games, because it's been a couple of years since I played it now, but there's like various like real time action moments, right?
yeah.
I honestly hate those in all video games. I think those are just like not. I think they're pretty much always poorly done, but I think in a movie those work a lot better.
Mhm.
So I think that's
Because you're just pretty much.
I think that
watching
can
a
make an
cutscene.
exciting scene a lot better. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're just super lame.
Yeah, fair
So-
enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. It's out in March. I did check.
I have
So.
one quick question.
Yep.
Side note, but is she a foreign actress?
Yeah, she was. I think she might be Danish.
Okay, yeah.
Because I watched her with her and Mads Mikkelsen and all subtitles.
Because she has a really like funky last name.
Whoa. What was that?
Alicia
Funky last name.
Funky is Irish. But yeah, her name is Alicia Vikander.
Yeah, okay.
Vikander,
But I remember I saw her in Ex Machina, and then I saw her in an interview of like seeing her not like the robot. I was
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Watch Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Great movie.
It's such a good movie.
We're gonna talk about a
I
trailer
got
that
chills.
was from that director, but we
I got
forgot to
chills
watch it.
watching that.
But yeah, hopefully
great.
she has better success than Fassbender did in his video game movie. You know, when she has bragging rights in that.
Yeah, he was
household.
pretty
Oh, I didn't think about
goddamn
that. That's
awful.
funny.
in that game.
Yeah. Let's talk about first. There's two movies that are very similar, but we'll talk about first Halloween. They're doing a new sequel. It's ignoring everything other than Halloween 1 and 2, and they're bringing Jamie Lee Curtis. Don't do you have any history?
No,
Okay, Tyler, you have any history?
I love the holiday. Great holiday.
Yeah. Any history?
No one
with the
for the great
Halloween movies?
parties. No, I do not.
Okay, which is fine.
I've seen multiple Halloween movies. I just don't know which ones. Like
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I've seen the original, but like I don't know the second one. I know I've seen like the reboot with his sister or something.
Well, the sister is in the OG one too. Yeah.
I know. I'm talking about the remake. I've seen that one, but like I just don't know which orders I've seen.
Yeah.
Like how many have there been?
It's quite a few.
Like I remember kill scenes.
Next time, well, somebody talk and I can think about it. What do you think about Halloween?
I'm gonna take a guess that there's 8.
No, that's not what I meant.
Oh.
I meant you
Like when I
talk.
think about them?
Well, I figured
Okay,
out.
well,
I will know.
I love them. Like my dad's always loved them, so he kind of brought me into the whole Halloween vibe, like the originals. And I remember watching them in the holidays, Halloween, because they'd always be on TV. So I don't know. I'm excited for a reboot. I always like Mike Myers, great killer.
There's 10 of them. There's one without Michael Myers. It's called Season of the Witch.
Kind of weird.
Yeah, they tried to spin it off because in Halloween 2 he dies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like dies.
He comes back in 4, so like who knows. What I'm gonna, I guess I can preference this is Terminator is doing the same thing where they're bringing Linda Hamilton back and they're ignoring everything from 1 and 2. I guess that's more a discussion I want to have is how do you feel about movie franchises and even game or TV, but doing this new thing that seems to be a common thing. Alien was gonna do it of okay, we're doing a sequel, but we're ignoring everything else from this point on, and we're just doing a sequel to that. How do you feel more about that? Because that doesn't really matter if you've seen Halloween or Terminator.
I think in this case it works. You can do this with like your horror movies that have 100 versions of the
Yeah.
movie, and even at this point, like they don't necessarily have like an intertwined story. In some cases, they're just like in it, to make a new movie and have some fun with it, make some money, kind of.
So then, what about Terminator that had like a longer storyline? Because they're doing the same thing. They're doing They're doing 1 and 2, and then this one's like the third, but there was 3 other after 1 and 2, and they're just ignoring that. Those don't exist anymore.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're making a good movie with like an interesting story, and you take it somewhere that isn't just like a rehash of what the original story is with different characters in different places, and you actually make it like some new story, maybe with a different message or different themes, and you kind of are altering or changing where you want to take these movies, I think it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, like for a movie like Halloween, I think that's totally okay too. And if you just make it like fun and you make it suspenseful and it's maybe at least in the better echelon of all the Halloween movies. I mean, I don't know if they go downhill like a lot of other horrors. Yeah.
There's about like 2 good ones in that 10.
So yeah, I mean, if this is a good movie that's really fun to watch, who gives a shit where it takes place in the rest of the story and if it ignores other stuff? Because I mean, it's so convoluted at this point anyway, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, pretty much the same thing what Dylan said.
Yeah.
Boom! Take that.
I'm a little curious
Stick
as
it in your
to what
pipe
they
and
said
smoke.
with Terminator, how they're like doing the same thing with Terminator.
What is your experience with Terminator as far as that
Love
franchise?
it.
Favorite. It's his favorite.
Not much. I
Okay.
think what was the not like the most recent one, but like when they started rebooting it.
Salvation with Christian Bale.
Salvation.
That one I watched. I enjoyed it.
I like it
thought,
too.
I thought it was good. They made another one after that, right?
Yeah, which ignored Salvation.
Redemption.
Genesis.
Was it
Jenny
any
Smith.
good? Or was
Genocide.
it-
People say it's the worst of the series. I
Oh,
watched it
yeah.
on an airplane and I thought it was alright, but I was on an airplane,
okay.
so that could have been like
That
free
could
movie,
help.
airplane, I'm tired.
Yeah.
Arnie's back.
I feel I don't even know if I've seen the first two like fully. I've definitely seen parts of them, but like it might
You
have been a long
gotta
time
watch
ago.
them.
But yeah, so
You gotta watch it.
They're good.
I think if it
Terminator
does a
is
good job, and because I'm all for having like alternate storylines.
Yeah.
Because if people like the original ones better, they can just be like, oh well, I like this storyline. People like this storyline. There's
Yeah.
no really right or wrong way to watch them.
I agree with you.
So I think if they make, I'm fine with people doing spin-offs like that and kind of taking the story in a new direction than what it originally was. So
I think one time when we have a slow news week, we should all bring a franchise that we wish would do the same thing. Movie, TV, game. 'Cause Dexter's definitely on that list. Like, see, let's
Yeah.
just make a season that starts after season 4. You know, let's ignore everything else and just
Yeah.
like, Dexter's hanging out with Harrison again. Like, you know.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you, Kirkland, any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, like I'm totally fine with people doing that where they just cancel out like some shitty movies. I'm not saying like they're all shitty or whatever. Just like just start after 3 because I feel like that can really work in a lot of situations because then you're not always just thinking about like
and also
the weird
really
ones.
save the series.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
you know,
can
a lot of
totally
baggage
save
where you gotta tie this into this into
100%.
this, and which I
Yeah.
feel is a big
Yeah.
problem with Covenant. When we saw that, it was all about like, we're tying all this stuff together, and it was like this weird blender of vomit.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought.
I'll take over. I think the thing with a movie like Halloween is even if you have I don't think there's gonna be a lot of people who are like, oh, that doesn't make sense with the story. That doesn't fit in. Like
100%, yeah.
people don't care. People are gonna forget. I feel like they're just gonna. Most people who are gonna go see Halloween, I feel like don't even remember the storyline or like the plot points. Really, what happened in the last ones? They're just like, oh, I love Halloween. They're gonna go see
Good
it.
Halloween pop.
No, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I totally agree with you. I feel like it can, like, for a horror movie, I feel like it really works for that. And, like, for, like, Friday the 13th, I feel like they could totally just start it, like, on the 3rd one. Or was the first one when they actually had the mask? 4th? No, 3rd.
Third was.
Yeah, so, like, they could start at 4th and just ignore, like, Jason in
Ignore
space and, like, all that bonkers.
Or should they ignore everything else and just follow Jason?
Just follow Jason's face. Well, you can do your 2 timelines, like Tyler said.
Yeah,
it's a great
exactly.
idea.
Were you about to ask how Jason had his face?
Yeah, how did he have in space?
So they.
I have an idea. What you could have the 4. You could have 4 quarters of the movie split up, and the top one is him like in a Western movie.
Ooh,
The
I
second
can see
one
that.
is like your classic, just whatever.
80s.
Yeah, 80s, and then you have one in space, and then one
In Blade Runner time.
chasing like the
2049.
GeekVerse or something.
It's Ryan Gosling.
Blade Runner.
He goes at this replicant and Jason's killing this
Is
replicant.
he a robot
and
or
then,
is he not?
Exactly, yeah. They arrested Jason and they had him. Well, not arrested. He got, I don't know, knocked out or
They
suspended.
captured
They
him.
captured
Who's
him.
they?
Like the
First of all,
police.
the government.
The government, yeah. And they kept him, and then by time, like they had him so long, they froze him, sent him up to space, but then he escaped.
So it
on
was like a
spacecraft.
containment.
Yeah. He was like frozen, and then he becomes
did he
Uber
get back
Jason.
He kills
to?
virtual campers.
Earth is at this point abandoned.
But he
because-
does land on a planet, remember?
Yeah.
At the end of the movie,
The
he's like,
storyline.
he's like a meteoroid, and he lands on. You just see like some counselors be like, "What's that over there?" I think they say it's like Mars or something. So
That sounds fucking awesome.
we'll watch one.
I really wanna
That
watch
actually
that.
sounds amazing. Yeah.
That sounds sick.
Before you go today, because I know you've seen Halloween, and the why I'll say it, because I'll throw you 2 questions. One, Terminator. I think it's great. Most Terminators are fine to all right. Do it. Tim Miller did Deadpool. He's directing it. James Cameron is producing it, wrote a treatment. So I'm excited to see it. I love Sarah Connor. I think probably the best female character. I know Ripley's up there, but Sarah Connor is great. So that's all good and dandy. Halloween, my problem with it is I agree with everything they say, so I'm not going to retread it. I use retread. The problem is there's a movie, the other great Halloween movie called Halloween H2O. You know what that is? The plot line is it ignores all the other movies between 2 and H2O, and it's about Jamie Lee Curtis coming back and Michael Myers finding her. This movie is ignoring all the sequels, and Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back for the final Halloween. It sounds like it's the exact same thing. Will I be there to watch it? Of course, I'm a loser. But that's my problem. Like when they pitched it, I was like, oh, this is great, Jamie Lee's back. But it sounds like we've made this movie already. And my second thing that I'll throw at you, they're following it. Jamie Lee Curtis is old.
doesn't that make Michael Myers like a 7-year-old killer now?
Hell yeah.
Like, he's older than Jamie Lee Curtis and Halloween 2. They're jumping 30 years. Like, how's the fuck you gonna be moving around catching these kids?
You know, he just, you see him in the movies, he just kind of waltzes or walks.
But he never
Waltzes?
He's never had
Isn't it a
to
dance?
He's never had to walk with a fucking walking cane though.
Is he like
But he
supernatural in any way?
No,
No,
he
but-
was, but that's what they're retconning. A cult found him and like gave him uber powers at one point.
But at the end of the day, and
He'll
like,
drive people around.
So he's just a murderer.
at the
He's
end of
just
the
a
day,
psychopath,
in
yeah.
Halo 1, or not Halo 1,
What the
Halloween,
fuck?
Halloween 1.
Master Chief shot him down.
In Halloween 1, he gets almost a whole magazine put into him from a handgun and falls off a 2-story balcony.
Yeah, he's
And falls.
He
Then
knows,
he lives.
Yeah, and he does. Apparently, in
He
Halloween
must survive worse than that.
Halloween 2, he gets shot in the head and lit on fire. But Halloween 3, he's back. So
And
he
so
survived.
not just lit on fire, the room explodes. So.
Yeah, it
But he
does.
lives, so.
Yeah,
I mean,
He
some
did
people
not
have fallen out of planes from like 50,000 feet and lived. So.
Yeah.
Though they won't do it, but no, they won't. I was wondering if they do like a copycat Michael Myers, but they've just been like, this is back to the basics. So I feel like they're just gonna ignore that he's 70, but he's gonna be running around, falling off buildings. But like he's 70 if they follow his continuity.
Maybe he'll be in a wheelchair the whole time.
That'd be awesome. It's like in an old nursing home.
that'd be good. Like,
That's
oh,
a great
he's a
idea.
new
Got the
patient,
mask.
and he has to
Yeah.
like take that
I'm
off.
picturing a scene of like 2 really old people like he's like chasing her down the hallway and they're just moving like so slow.
Man,
And like someone in the background just like walks by like at a regular pace.
we've
That's
lost
the-
all our veteran viewers, while all our senior viewers, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Grandma.
Any animals?
Well, yes, I think I do. My experience with Halloween, like I love Halloween 1. It's my favorite. Every Halloween, it's my tradition to watch it.
Yeah, me too.
I have.
Makes you very
I have them
unique.
all. What?
Yeah.
What? I own.
Once you want to go to behind the alley is what he's saying.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Gloves off, baby.
Gloves off. You
Gloves
know,
off.
I love to watch the I love to watch the first one, but I own the original 5.
Casually drops that.
We own the first one on the Blu-ray 20th special edition.
No, I don't.
Boom.
I wish I did.
I do.
But do you
And
have
it's
a
a book.
steelbook?
What do you own?
What?
Do you have the Steelbox edition?
They didn't make a Steelbox edition.
You don't.
It's in a book. It's in a book.
Ah, sucks for you.
It doesn't exist. I can't buy it.
Could have made one.
You're a fucking nerd over here. Doesn't have a steel box.
Yeah,
I'm
no, I
awesome.
think,
We're like, oh,
You
lame.
didn't make a custom steel box in your own workshop?
Nope. I don't own a workshop. No,
I've seen it.
come on. No, I'm not
Buy
Jigsaw.
that.
Beneath the
Alley.
floorboards.
This man calls himself a fan. I didn't do any
Calls
of that.
himself a geek.
I think
Yeah.
this is actually it's gonna be interesting, but you're 100% right with your question. Like they've already done it with H2O.
Yeah,
I
it's the
mean,
exact movie.
I
That show's good too.
it's not too bad. Yeah, I'm very curious to see
Good
how.
Which one is your favorite then, other than one?
Other than one,
Rogue One.
I can't remember because Return or Revenge really confused me with their titles. but it's
Return of the
one-
Revenge?
There's Halloween Return of Michael
Oh.
Myers and then Revenge of
I
Michael
think
Myers.
Return of the Revenge.
No.
That's a sweet title.
But I'm trying.
Just Ben.
Revenge of Michael Myers.
I'm trying to remember because it's the one where Michael Myers, the chief of police leaves, and then they go back to the police station, and all the police are dead. Michael Myers kills the entire police force, and then they have to hire the town, or not hire, but the town will get their guns and they're riding in their trucks driving around trying to find.
You're wrong.
Which one is that?
No, no. It's 4.
It's 4K.
But he doesn't kill, or
Because they go to the police station,
You
the
got
police
them-
are dead.
you got the movies mixed up. 4 is when they're all chasing him because they kill him in that well. What they do literally is they shoot Michael Myers and he falls down a well, and then they throw down dynamite to blow him up, and they're like, he's finally dead. 5 starts with him like working his way through the well, and he ends up in a river, and like it just exploded. And 5 ends with the cult comes in and kills all the people
Okay.
because. All of a sudden, for some reason, Michael Myers in these movies randomly has this huge wrist tattoo, and they always focus on when he's killing people. And it's because he got abducted by some cult.
Okay, well then it's number 4 that I like, where they like the townspeople
Yeah.
come together and they're like,
people.
yeah, that was really
Jamie Lee
good.
Curtis's daughter,
Yes.
which she was in the remake. Did you know that?
Gotta fight off those
The little girl is in the reboot of in Michael Myers.
Oh,
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
she's a.
But yeah, I think it's really cool. But I mean, I think as far as Terminator goes, Terminator 2 is my favorite out of all of them. I'm very excited
too.
to see what they're gonna do, like storyline wise, because I mean Genesis was fun. Salvation I own and I quite enjoy that one, but 2 is
I
always my
probably
favorite.
enjoy that one.
I don't think you said
I
that.
think I
I
said
don't think
Why
I
says
said
that?
I quite enjoy
I'm
it.
pretty
I thought you said I'd probably enjoy that. I like that.
That's a fair assessment to make.
He's just assuming now.
This is Galaxy Heroes. You probably like it.
But no, I mean, I didn't. 3 was okay, but it didn't really. I don't know. Like it set up the
Three's-
storyline for. I mean, it's not my favorite. I'll say that much. But I mean, I'm glad that they picked a point to erase. That they're starting with 2 and erasing everything after that. And as far as other movies that do that, I mean, like I wish Alien got that treatment. I feel like continuing after and like letting Alien 3 and Resurrection be their own timeline, and that would have been perfect with me.
So how come you are fine with these movies doing it, but you weren't a fan of them doing it with the solo Joker?
Oh wow, big question.
Because there's too much Joker.
There's one Joker,
But there's Joker and Harley Quinn.
Movies.
but those aren't out yet.
Oh, we're talking about because it's a separate actor playing the Joker,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Oh, I just didn't like that because it was just creating too much confusion. I mean, finish at least one storyline before introducing another because the average movie.
Secretly, he
what
loves
if the
Jared
storyline
Leto.
is really bad though?
Yeah.
Or would you
In
prefer
this
to
case,
describe
what
it?
if it's kind of awful?
Like, I know you probably enjoy the storyline, but just imagine a storyline that's really bad. Would you prefer they finish that storyline and then try and start something new 10 years later?
From your
or-
point of view, then I think that
Jedi
they should not even continue the storyline like they're doing. They should scrap it and just start another standalone Joker movie.
There you go.
But they're doing Suicide Squad 2. They're doing Gotham City Sirens. They're doing the Joker, Harley Quinn movie. And Jared Leto's going to be popping off in every single one
That
of
is
them.
actually a decent point that they're having 2 separate Joker storylines going at the same time.
We talked about this.
I think it's just a bad
They have
decision
it,
from the start of Suicide Squad.
I mean, like, you have the opportunity to tap into these different, like, another universe or different timeline. And sure, I think it's a cool idea, but then, like, my dad is gonna go there and be like, "Oh, where's Jared Leto at? How come he's not
Nonsense.
playing the
I
Joker?"
don't think your dad's gonna say
Man, I really glad they were
The only person
took over as the
saying
Joker.
the only person that's saying that is Jared Leto while he reads the news. Solo Joker without Leto, and he's like, "Where's the Jared Leto?"
Taylor, where is Jared Leto? You promised me Jared Leto.
Transition.
Go to the Dutch.
Speaking of Sony and DCU's not popping off, Justice League has been screened for fans. They're not allowed to talk about they'll get shot, but it has been screened.
Oh,
So
yeah. shot by Batman.
what?
Why didn't we go to
It's a surprise screen. It's literally just one where they'll be like, they'll announce it and they'll be like,
Like they show
half
up
an
around
hour.
people's houses and
in-
they put it in the
They
DVD
could,
player.
but like,
Don't
yeah,
show me.
it's a whole secret and everything like that. So, but the word is, it could change before November comes out, but Lex Luthor has been cut from Justice League. He is no longer in the movie as of right now. Dylan, what do you think about that? And I'll pose a question with Flashpoint
Yeah.
coming up. Do you think there's a chance? There's been also about Affleck. We've not heard anything about Eisenberg. People didn't like him. He
Right.
got cut from Justice League. Do you think there's any chance that he gets a little Flashpoint up and maybe he's not around anymore? Because I felt like he's going to be a big part or have a part in, I don't know.
Well, this is a big turn of events for me because I didn't even know he was in the movie in the first place.
I think it was a
So
secret.
he got cut from a movie
I
that
also
didn't
didn't know.
know.
I also
Yeah.
didn't know.
So he didn't really get cut. Nothing's changed for me. I don't know what to say. Like,
Well, take it in the world where
Yeah,
you
no.
thought he was going to be in it, you know.
if I thought he was going to be in it, you know, I didn't think he was great in BVS. I mean, there wasn't a lot of great things in that movie. But I like the actor enough that I was willing to... I don't think like he was the problem. I think it was more the script and what they chose to do with the character that was the problem for me. And, you know, I mean, I don't think anyone could have acted some of those scenes well with what he had to do.
Yeah.
What's that scene? He's like in prison. Yikes.
Yowzers.
But I like that actor. I don't think he was the best choice for Lex Luthor, but I don't care. I think he's talented enough. He'll figure it out eventually. So I'd like to see him some more. I didn't even know he was in Justice League, so it sucks for him that he got cut. And
You
it's
didn't
probably
think he
not
was
a good.
going to be in it, though, after the way BVS ends and he kind of like...
I don't think I ever sat down and thought about it, but I mean, I didn't hear anything about it. I kind of feel like that'd be something I'd hear about, or maybe see him in a trailer, even if it's just a spooky line. You don't actually see him, but it's just a line that you hear from him, and then,
Yeah.
you know he's there.
Percentage of a recast.
I'm gonna go with a low chance.
You got a number?
I'm gonna go with a 14% chance that he gets recast because I mean Jared Leto was even worse and he didn't get recast. So
Yeah, that's kind of sucks.
So
Yeah.
that exists. In that, if that world exists, then him not getting recast, that world exists.
Tyler Briggs?
I definitely didn't know he was in the movie either. But I do like...
Did you know he was in the movie?
Yeah, if you're...
How long ago did you know that?
He was down there shooting with them. They never said... I think they put out one press release where he was listed.
Oh.
I don't think he was going to have a lot of screen time,
No.
but I think he was going to play maybe some
behind the
vital
scenes.
roles. Yeah, because at the end of that
Release
movie...
Doomsday #2.
He created Doomsday, he found these mother box, he got into Zod's ship, so there's all this stuff going on, so... And he's always linked to Superman, so I think he would have had a little bit of a meaty role, but...
Meaty.
Yeah, a lot of what Dylan said again.
Yeah.
I do really like Jesse Eisenberg, and I feel like he didn't do like the worst job of the role. So, I mean, I think it would have been cool, but I honestly would have just expected them to bring him back in a Superman standalone again, rather than bring him back with like the whole team. So
Gets a little crowded.
yeah, it is what it is. I mean, sucks for Jesse Eisenberg. Do you know if they
He still gets paid, so he's
Yeah.
good.
Did they cut him after they switched directors?
I think that's... Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
That would be my prediction.
It was his decision to cut all that.
Yeah, I feel like it probably didn't make a whole lot of sense, and then Whedon was like, hey, this really makes sense.
Yeah, you know what? What are we gonna do?
Yeah, this plot line should,
You know what? I think
like, it should work.
I
What does that mean?
I think honestly, I think this is a good thing for the movie. It shows that they're willing to make like what's the new director's name?
Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon is willing to make like significant changes, I imagine, to make the film work, and that the fact that he's making these changes shows that there potentially was something wrong with the film that we don't have to deal with anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it could be good for the integrity of the film.
Kirkland, you're a huge fan of Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Josh Sweet.
I don't really have a big opinion on this. Like, just like these guys, I had no idea he was gonna be even a part of this film, and then him out of it just doesn't change anything. It's like I'm right where I'm at.
I was
Like,
right.
like if no
I
one
knew he wasn't gonna be in the film.
yeah, like if no one said that he got like cut, I would have been
Nothing.
I shouldn't have brought up.
If you just didn't bring this up, no one would have known anything.
yeah. Like, I really don't have much to say
Fair
on
enough.
the topic.
I didn't know he was in it either. But you know,
Travis, only man on the planet who knows that he was in the film.
I think, you know, I mean, it would have made a little bit of cool sense if Superman,
Cool
you know,
sense.
a little bit of cool sense.
That's a good flavor of chip.
Zach,
Why
why do you have...
you get the cool sense Doritos, man? Like those sound fucking sick.
Hey Zach, why do you have this random scene of Lex Luthor? It makes cool sense. Yeah, we're gonna cut that.
Let's get this
Add more
going.
Wonder Woman, please. Yeah. Gal, get in here.
Cool
You're gonna
sense.
be in the prison scene this time.
Can
you go?
I can go.
He strikes again.
Like out the door.
yeah, doesn't mean get the. Go back to the alley you came from.
No, I think that. Shit, where was I going with that? Oh, okay. So I think it would have it would have fit in well because obviously Superman, I'm assuming, is gonna make his debut again in this film.
No, that's a return.
It's
That's
not
not
a
a debut.
It's a retread.
Oh, okay.
It's a return of the debut.
Revenge
Well,
of the.
they're actually
Revenge
scrapping
of the
all
Return
the
of the
previous films and his first appearance again.
Hey, that might happen.
Well, yeah, he's cut just like his hair, so I guess we'll
Nice.
yeah.
Very fresh.
We'll
Cool sense right there.
we'll maybe we'll see him in
Brendan,
the
stop trying to make cool sense happen.
we'll see him in the deleted scenes, I guess, because you know, I mean, like Tyler said, you know, it shows that they're willing to really show some integrity with this film. Like everything you guys said is like perfect. Like,
Thank you.
yes,
Thank you.
I like it very much.
It
Like,
makes
this is
cool
what
sense.
not to do, so we're gonna like that. And here's how to have a plot. So
Here's how to have a plot.
yeah, I like
101.
It's gotta be
That's
cool
good.
sense.
Josh Sweden.
cool sense.
That's the
That's not his name.
Josh Swedish.
He's in the middle. I think I'm gonna go completely personal on this. I'm 100% happy he's on there. I think Dylan and Tyler are being pretty nice. I think he's pretty fucking god awful in that movie. The only reason people don't talk about him more is because Jared Leto came around in August and that took all the negative attention away. Everyone forgets that
That's
after
true.
BVS,
I don't
everyone was
forget
talking
about
about, man, Lex was so bad. The second the new joke happened, everyone was like, you know, Lex isn't that bad. You know? I mean, like, I was the
There
same.
are significant levels of worse.
Yeah, and I think I said that in our squad
I think it's
review.
like he was bad, but like the actor isn't bad.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think for my personal self, I'm happy he's cut. And I will go, I guess knowing Al's percentage, I will go 55%. The reason is just because Ty brought up, we'll see him a standalone Superman movie. We look at all these movies DC's announcing, none of them are Superman movies. He's in prison, everyone doesn't like his performance. Flashpoint's coming up where they're talking about recasting Ben Affleck. I'm not sure if Kirkland and Ty know, but it's a movie that has a lot to do with time travel. So in the comic books, it changed and made different universes. So they can. This is an excuse to anything they want to change. They can change it. I think Eisenberg wouldn't be too mad because he doesn't have to shave his head all the time. So I think that it's gonna be one of these quiet things where Superman gets back to Metropolis and look, go to old Bryan Cranston or something he's playing now. You know,
Bryan Cranston, I'd be down.
I think everyone's looking at Affleck. I'd be down with The Rock too, but he's already playing a DC villain. I think everyone's looking at Affleck. I think for some reason Luthor, we just don't hear about him. He's not talked about in any other movies. You guys didn't even know he was in this movie. That's he's not talked about. He doesn't seem like a big cog of the DCU. It just seems like everyone saw him and they're cog with a G.
I heard you.
I feel like everybody saw it and was like, that's not really for me, so I'll just forget about that. So I think there's more of a chance it could happen, and I personally would like it. Eisenberg, I like him too.
But if he gets recast, what would he be in? You know?
What would Lex Luthor be in?
Yeah.
Whenever they do make the next Superman movie, restart of look, a new Lex, you know? Maybe Henry Cavill goes away. I don't think so. I think he'll stick around, but I think Henry comes back. It's there's this new Lex, you know?
Ooh, new Lex.
And maybe this Lex comes
new bad
off.
guy to defeat.
Yeah, but it's the same. Same, but different.
Same, but different. Cool sense right there.
I honestly totally forgot that Lex Luthor was even in that movie. I had not thought about it till now.
Without him, there's no movie.
Well,
Batman, Superman.
There's no Batman, Superman.
Was there a movie to
Superman
begin
go
with?
Batman? Who knows?
Rumors, the next X-Men movie, which is X-Men Dark Phoenix, there's rumors that it might be a two-parter. Anybody want that?
So it's actually 2 movies.
Well, it would be like X-Men Dark Phoenix Part 1 and Part 2.
So it's 2 movies, but the same story.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of weird that you had to get clarification on what a 2-parter movie is.
Yeah, we've been through Deathly Hollows. We've been
Because there is a difference between a sequel and a 2-parter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
2-parters, the first part usually leaves off quite a bit of cliffhanger. You know.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what a 2-parter is.
Do you want a 2-parter for X-Men? Anybody?
Oh, I mean,
No.
we haven't really had that with the comic book movie, have we? We just had those sequels.
Infinity War might kind of be that, right? Because there's that.
Would you call
Avengers
the
4.
original X-Men trilogy a 3-parter, or would that be
No, I'd call it a
trilogy?
A trilogy, yeah.
Okay.
I would call Lord of the Rings a 3-parter, or The Hobbit, or I don't even know if you would call. I don't even know if I would call Star Wars a 3-parter.
I wouldn't.
No.
No.
It's
You call Lord of the Rings a 3-parter? Really?
Yeah.
Not a trilogy?
I think so. I think he just made it was gonna be Lord of the Rings Part 1, Part 2, but it's Fellowship.
Okay.
This and that. Just because they happen so close together.
That is true.
Star Wars, there's jumps. Hobbits are so close together. Where you look at Days of Future Past and Apocalypse, 10 years.
Mhm.
But I feel like this would be just 10 minutes.
Right. Well, anyway, I think it's a really cool character, and actually a character I don't know a whole lot about, and I already think she's cool just from what I do know. So, I'm not opposed to the idea of them doing a 2-parter and just going really in depth on a story and doing something different, because I don't know, X-Men movies are, I don't know, some of them are kind of dodgy, but I don't know. I think it could be a really interesting thing to do, and it'd be cool to see if that was if they did that and it was done well and people really liked it and people thought it did well for the story that they chose to go with a 2-parter, to see if other studios follow in the path, and if Marvel decides to do that.
Could feel less crammed. We complain about too much storyline sometimes in BVS, Alexa, this, that. That could separate it enough to feel like it's one big story.
I mean, I feel like as well for X-Men, I we had the trilogy a while ago, but since then it seems like every movie is quite separate from one another. The only thing tying them together is the name X-Men, maybe a couple characters, but they seem quite different. So I know this is a chance as well for it to kind of have multiple movies that are kind of unified and seem to all connect some more. And I mean, obviously we've seen now MCU is so connected, and the DCU, everything makes sense within the same world. So X-Men's kind of skipping with that with Logan and Deadpool, just completely different stories. And even before that with the time travel and retconning some stuff, and
Yeah.
I don't know. It's we have talked about before how much of a mess X-Men has been in some
Yeah.
ways.
My worry is I don't know if the general public wants 2 parts of an X-Men movie. I feel like
Yeah.
they're coming off Apocalypse. There's not that much hype. The hype with X-Men is all these rated R movies, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Deadpool 2 I think will be big. Logan was big this year. I wonder if it's like X-Men's just kind of not the cool kid in the room right now. And even with DC, it's like, yeah, they might be putting out some, you know, mixed movies, but
Yeah.
they're new.
It
right?
actually now that you bring it is quite risky, right? Because
Yeah.
X-Men's already kind of falling behind. I mean, Logan and Deadpool are exceptions.
They have
right?
2
'Cause they don't have
leads.
the X-Men
Yeah.
name on them, but
yeah.
it's already kind of falling behind. And if you do that, a lot of people for strictly 2-parters, they intentionally won't go and see the first one. They might wait and then watch it like right before the new one comes out, see them together. And,
Or they
but then
see
the
the
problem,
first,
the problem with
and it's
that,
not good.
or they see the first and it's
Yeah.
not good. The other problem is some people have the idea, oh, I'm gonna wait, watch them when they watch the first one until
Yeah.
the second one comes out, and then they just don't.
Mhm.
They just never get around to it.
Netflix
So
Sunday.
it is. I mean, yeah, people like us will be there for sure, but I think it could be quite risky,
Yeah.
especially because I feel like the general population and like, the more casual fans don't really know a whole lot about that character really, and I guess we do get to see more of her in Apocalypse, but even then that movie a lot of people didn't really like it. So like obviously if you do a 2-parter for X-Men, but it's Wolverine or I don't know, there's a lot of characters that I think you could sell people on. I don't know if Phoenix is that character.
Yeah. Chaps, anything then?
Chaps.
He shakes his head yes,
Yeah!
but doesn't say anything.
I don't know, like personally, I feel like it could be really interesting, but like if it's not interesting, I feel like it could just be really long and boring.
Yeah.
But it's totally like what you said though. Like if the first part isn't like amazing, like a lot of people will be like, well,
Yeah. Well, that
You gotta be thirsty for the number 2.
yeah, exactly.
most of them don't happen, but that notoriously happened with the last 2 Hunger Games movie. That the part 1 did a lot better because people saw it and didn't really like it and didn't see part 2.
Yeah.
I've still never seen part 2, and Emily's
I haven't
read
seen
the
either,
books.
yeah.
Yeah, me and Emily
either.
saw part 1 in the theaters. We were like, part 2 came out. We never saw it. We still never seen it. And that was one where I think part 2 is actually the lowest in the series, so that can happen. And I'd like to, maybe I'll do a quick look of what the Hobbits were like, because I felt like that happened with the Hobbits too.
I think
Deathly Hallows was
the
huge.
second one. Yeah, well, Harry Potter.
Yeah, Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, they just went up and then they stopped.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Yeah, you could go. You're shaking your head.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what's quiet? You can just
I thought
add.
Kirkland,
You
I
just
thought Kirkland was
say-
gonna keep going.
Well, then you go. So
Um,
hey, Kirkland, you're saying
That's a
anything?
pretty good pause there.
Yeah.
I was pretty convinced Kirkland was
I was reaching for my water.
I'm not a fan of 2-parters. Like for Deathly
Wow.
Hallows,
Oh, no.
I
Wow.
thoroughly enjoyed
Okay.
part 2 more than part 1.
Isn't it Deathly Hollows?
Hmm?
Or is it Hallows?
It's Hollow.
I say Hollows.
It's Deathly Hallows.
It's hellos.
Deathly Hollows.
The Hallows, not Hollows.
Oh, I'm genuine. I'm not.
It's
I'm
Deathly
genuinely
Hallows.
curious.
It's Deathly Hallows.
Definitely
Okay.
hellos.
Deathly
Hallows.
Hello.
Part 1.
And all the Hobbits.
Anyway,
by
go
the way,
on,
the
Ted.
Hobbits did decline with each one. So there
Yeah.
you go. So that's another example of like people are like, yeah, and when less do.
No, yeah, I like part 2 more, and then like Twilight, I like part 2.
Oh no! I honestly forgot those movies existed.
Yeah, man.
I
Twilight
hadn't
Part
thought
2 is
about
actually
those movies in over a year.
Part 2 is like a
Only
5 out of 10. There's a
Nice.
really sick battle scene at the end. I will give them that actually. It's pretty cool.
My whole life I'm striving for that 5 out of 10.
But you know, at the end of the day, like
DC
X-Men,
would
it's
kill
true,
for that.
So it's actually sad.
I'm not a huge X-Men fan. I mean, it's got a few things like I enjoy, but I'm not a huge X-Men fan. I feel like if a 2-parter for this X-Men movie, it just means I'm gonna have to spend my money to go to theater twice.
Well, you don't have to.
I don't have to. I'm not
You
going
don't
to.
have to.
not spend your money at
You're
all.
not going to.
Oh,
You
wow.
know,
Fans
if
are
the
happy.
fans specifically say, even if one fan says, Taylor, I want you to do it, I'll be like, okay, I'll do it.
I'll make a
Taylor,
fan.
Gertie, get up there.
I'm gonna make a
Well,
fan.
we aren't the fans. We are
I'm
the
a fan.
I'm gonna make a fan.
We are the
I'm a huge
givers
fan.
here, not the fans
We are the
How
sons.
can I not be a fan? Why not?
of the podcast.
Yeah.
Because we're the givers.
Oh,
So-
it's a great book.
That's his motto in the
Together.
alley.
That's like saying that's like saying Ryan Gosling can't be a fan of La La Land or Blade Runner.
It would seem a little egotistical in an interview if he's like, I'm a big fan of this movie. Like, what movie? Oh, La La Land, it's great. It does seem a little
Seen that main actor? He's
yeah.
spicy.
Fuck, he's so much better dancer than her. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, does anyone else have any other movie news? Because we're about to get the Blade Runner, and if we get the Blade Runner, you can exit to right stage.
Sorry, guys.
No, does anyone have any other movie news or TV news before?
Negative.
Negative?
Hi,
All right.
thanks.
Kirkland, say goodbye to the viewers.
Goodbye,
I'll see you next
viewers.
week.
See you next week.
Did anyone see the Maze Runner trailer?
Maze Runner.
Wasn't the Maze Runner like
Those are
4
the
years
first
ago?
The new one. What's it called?
They're making what?
The third
The
part
Death
3.
Curse.
Why?
The what?
Is it Death Curse?
The
Maybe?
Death Curse. That's the death.
Wow.
Fuck death, not death.
That's like the worst kind of curse you can get.
The Death Curse.
I mean,
I'll take that over AIDS any day.
Come on, man. If I didn't see Red Dead trailer, like, you think I fucking saw this trailer? That's
I didn't know the thing. I didn't know.
How I didn't know.
I need Jessica here.
All right.
I actually
James
enjoyed the first one.
The Death Cure.
I actually enjoyed the first one enough, but the second one was fucking awful.
That's
everyone
what
says.
I
Yeah.
agree with you. I enjoyed the first one, then I just couldn't finish the
Everyone
The
says
second
that
one
I
was
know.
complete garbage.
Yeah.
Alright, it was bad.
It was a burning pile of garbage.
The reason this one took
Covered in
so
sand.
long, by the way, is the main actor got very hurt in a stunt for the
Yeah, it
movie,
was
so
a-
it got delayed.
Dylan
Yeah.
Bryan.
Yeah, so
That makes sense. 'Cause I feel like this was like a
Don't
thing
do
back when I was in high school.
it probably was. And it was a book too.
I know it was a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just smash shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that mic
Kirkland,
picks up everything.
You're good to go. Let's
All
see
right.
making that animation.
Alright. Alright, no.
Alright.
No
Golf
more
clap for
Maze Runners.
Kirkland.
Thank you,
Yay!
guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye,
Good to see
Kirkland.
Blade Runner.
I'll see you next time.
Bye, Kirkland.
Have a good
Oh,
evening.
look
Bye,
at the booty.
Kirkland.
See you, man.
You guys could probably move down one.
Ah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to talk about Blade Runner in multiple ways.
We're going to talk about the short films
I'm
a
straight.
little bit, but we're also going to talk about the original one because these three, for the first time, I've seen it. So it's like a little
That's
bit.
not fair. I watched it for the first time a few months ago.
You fell asleep?
It's true. I didn't stay awake.
So you say first time fully awake for the first time. So we're gonna talk about just Blade Runner in general, shorts, maybe what we expect next week, everything like that. So open table, where we want to start.
I think this movie is very interesting, mainly because of, I mean, it's not quite what you expect, and I think that was Taylor's big thing when he came out of it. It's not what he was expecting at all. And
I
think,
did warn you. I said it's not what you expect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the big thing for me is the pacing of it. It's very,
Methodical.
yeah, it's bizarre. I feel like is the best way for me to describe the pacing because I think some of it is really well done. Like obviously it's a very slow movie and it's a lot of like sometimes I'll just be like a shot of like a character's like face for like a really long time.
Harrison
And-
Ford playing the piano.
Harrison Ford playing the piano. Yeah, like it happens a lot, and I think it works for the most part. But there is sometimes when I feel like the movie is quite slow for like a long period of time, and I maybe am checking out a little bit, and that's when I start. You know, we all watched it together, which was nice because we started like talking about things and kind of picked up the pace. But on its own, I think it sometimes is a bit slow. I think a lot of times though that slow pacing works really well, and that's because of the soundtrack. Even though I only saw the movie for the first time a few months ago, I've heard the soundtrack for many years.
Yeah.
My dad was always blasting it on driving around and stuff like that. So
The
it
Angela
even had some like
score.
nostalgia value for
Yeah.
me, and it's really well done, really placed really well, and even like the scenes like how the soundtrack blends into like him playing the piano, like it all works together.
Yeah.
I think the movie is interesting because instead of going for like certain, rather than having like a really intricate plot, I feel like it's a lot of like subtle stuff and ambiguity as you said, and it kind of
I think it's a very simple plot too. It's literally just about a guy.
It is a very simple
It's
plot.
like
It takes place over a very short.
And you kind
period
of
time,
know
too.
like what is going to happen throughout the movie. The Blade Runner is going to hunt down these replicants, and that's kind of what happens. But there's a lot more subtle things that happen along the way, and there's a lot of questions that come up, and it's in a way that isn't super obvious. Like that was my problem with Ghost in the Shell that came out this year. Is like there's this theme and question it wants you to think about, and it's actually very similar to the questions in Blade Runner, but that movie just makes it so obvious and it says it in dialogue like 3 times.
Yeah.
Whereas this movie, you kind of have to think about it, and like the movie's not over when it says the end, right?
Well, and even the ending, I think they do like a classic movie trope of this villain the whole time is hunting down Deckard when he breaks his fingers. It's like a big chase scenes on roof and everything. And then when he gets to him, he just wants to talk to him and tell him like his perspective. Obviously, he's dying, but he never had any intention of killing him. It was just to kind of show him. And I think sometimes it's debatable. It's almost like he shows him that he could have killed him, but he didn't. And he talks about like the quote of like things. This is paraphrasing. Like events happening in life is like tears in a rain, and that's a huge quote. But I think that even is a huge trope in movies. You always, oh, it's ending this big action scene, but it just ends with him like having a speech, and then he just dies, and then Harrison Ford Deckard goes on his own way. You know, like it doesn't end in the classic like big action set piece, big action fight scene. There's some of that like in the doll toy house, like with like the girl who is like Harley Quinn, like her action set piece with Deckard, like she's fighting and everything like that.
I love that scene, by the way.
It's so cool.
So weird.
It's so.
I love like the noise. How she's just screaming the whole time.
Yeah.
Like the way the movie's shot, but the way it looks, like that toy scene outside anytime, like it feels so alive. The thing, because I watched it twice this week. I watched it on like Monday night.
Why didn't you watch it with us, man?
It's you guys are with the baby, you know. I'm spending a little more time with the baby, so. But no, I hadn't seen it in about over a year because I purposely knew 2049 was coming out, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait to watch it, and then I did, and I kind of forgot how good it is. It's one of those movies that I always hate when we did our top 10 movies because it's the bottom 3 movies of mine are always going back and forth. Like I put a movie called Shame in there, which I love, but I felt like I maybe put it just because I was on a roll watching it quite a bit, and then I look, I'm like, oh, like so this is one of these movies that I've always loved.
Did you have later in your top 10 at the time?
No, I had my honorable mentions. Yeah, it would be top 25 sure, but like I said, those bottom 3 always switch. They're always like, even now, it's just like, I'm like, oh, I would have changed that, or I would have changed that. Like, the top 6, those are solid. It's those 4, like, there's things that I like, but there's things that I love it. The thing that I kind of give it a pass is, I get it because he's like searching for a connection for love. The love of his story is like a little forced, I feel. I get it because the idea is he's so alone. He's just looking for a connection with anybody. So I kind of give it a pass, but like, he meets her, and then a few days later, he's literally saying that he loves her, and they love each other. So that's anytime that happens in movies, I'm kind of a little like, okay, like it's a little fast, you know. And like, but I kind of get it. It kind of works for this movie. So, and other than that, I don't really have any negatives. Like it's a great movie, great themes. Like it questions humanity. It questions more like mortality. It questions like law, the prejudice against people.
Yeah.
The best science fiction movies are the ones that make you question either yourself or the world. That's why I'm a huge fan of the original Planet of the Apes. It's obviously a metaphor for how black people were treated back in the day, and that's how it was. It's a flip of how these people are mistreating apes, and that's the thing that this is very much about. Okay, these robots are somehow more human than us, and how does that happen? You know, you would think that wouldn't be the case. It'd have less humanity, but the fact they have it, and we make them use slaves, and how messed up is it? And that's why Deckard changes. How messed up is it that he is hunting these people that were made for slaves, and he's killing them / retiring them? You know. And I think it's a great story, and I love it because I like that it's just a simple movie. It is just like it's a noir detective movie of he's tracking down these people. The world's not on the line. That's why I didn't like that anime short a little bit because it was a bit too big of like there's bombs, missiles. I like the story of like it's. You know, point A, point B, and it's all a character in that movie, you know?
Well, I mean, a lot of the movie, going along with this pacing, is simply setting up this world and, like, trying to, I guess, put you in the mood and the feeling of that world, and obviously a lot of this movie is really dark. Like, even if it's 2 characters talking, it's, like, just, like, a small, like, lowly lit room kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a lot of shots of just, like, panning around of the city and
oh, that's what I was going to bring
like
up, because I've said I haven't watched it in a while. I still feel like it holds up as far as visually. It doesn't look like a movie that looks dated. Like, it looks like it's still shot today. And I originally had on Blu-ray. I lost it, and the second I saw this, I'm like, I got to rebuy this, because I watched it online, and, like, it still looks like it was shot today. It's cinematography is beautiful, and the last one I'll make, because it's Taylor, because he hasn't got in, is, like, I hate to rag on it, but that's why I was never a huge fan of the prequels with Star Wars. Because this world feels so lived in. Obviously, it's high tech and there's machines and all the stuff we don't have. But there's still dingy areas. There's still like your homeless area. There's still shady towns. It's not just like this like, oh, we're in the future and everything's bright and shiny and great. Like it looks all lived in. Even the beautiful stuff looks like it has chinks on and everything like that. So it's the attention to detail, which is phenomenal. And I hope that the sequel will have that. And from all accounts, it sounds like it does. But Taylor.
When I started watching the movie with you guys, like my first thing that I love to do is, only because it was so close to what year we're in now, 2019 to 2017, just like looking at how they imagined this kind of different universe and environment, just like the old cell phones thing, just like all the different stuff, like even in the anime, or not the anime, one of the live action shorts I walked in on, you watch, just finishing up, and he's like using a payphone.
Completely naked.
He's like using a payphone. Like it's just such an interesting like there's all the different kind of things like that. But I mean, the movie itself, I didn't know what I was in for. I didn't know what it was about at all. Reading the font, the text that came up at the beginning of the film, it looked like the story was actually really intriguing because I wasn't expecting it to be about replicants. And
What did you think it was about, though? I'm not saying that in like an asshole way, but because have you heard anything about this?
I will say honestly, like for a long time back in the day, before I really knew much about it, I very much pictured it like an Indiana Jones sort of thing, where you'd be cruising around tombs and shit, and just like.
Well, I think that's the
running around with blades.
The movie, the original one bombed, and a lot of people didn't like it because I think that was a lot of things that people saw Harrison Ford and thought, oh, I'm getting a space adventure. If you look at the poster, he's the gun, there's spaceships, but it's like really like a psychological, philosophical movie. Yeah. I think that's why a lot of people didn't like it back in the day. Like some people, it's one of those now. It's come around. People like saying it's a shine. People hate it and then loved it, but I think that's it. You saw Harrison Ford, big action star, and he does some chasing, but like when he chases, he kind of looks like a wimp, you know, like he's not the aggressor lots of times. Right. So yeah.
But what were you expecting?
I really don't know, because I mean, even the name Blade Runner and seeing him with the guy on the front, like I didn't know really where they were gonna go with this movie. What was the the opposing force? What was the story? The direction? I had nothing to go off of. So I mean, seeing it and being unprepared for there's robots they're used as a labor force and all this stuff, and then they started to rebel in certain areas, so there were laws put into place like batting on Earth and all these different things. I thought it was really a cool concept. That being said, there were moments I don't know if it was your couch was too comfy or what, but I definitely was I feel like I could fall asleep.
Couches are pretty comfy.
But I definitely didn't fall asleep at all. I was awake through the whole thing, but I think that the story and what they were tackling was really, really good. Like you said, a lot of the facts and everything they were handling and their approach was really, really interesting. Just some things I didn't understand was why the Tyrell Corporation was still making money off of making these Nexus 6s if they were illegal on Earth and if they were frowned upon. And then, what was my other question? Do you have an answer for that? Why?
Because there's so much off-world colonization going on at the time. They use them as pretty much slave labor so that humans didn't have to do the hard work on going to new planets and.
So other stuff like Earth, they didn't really want. They're like, we don't really want these people here. Very much it's like a racial issue. But it's we can use them to work at other places and use them for other means.
Yeah.
So it was more just Earth was more concerned hey. These replicants.
Because they don't want because replicants have the ability to get emotions and they're sentient, so they don't want them to know what
they're doing to them.
They don't want to have any frame of reference.
Yeah.
Because if they're only off-world, that's the only life they know.
Yeah, I've been born to work and do this, where they see people chilling, they see people going to clubs, everything like that.
They see everything.
Think about the dancer girl. What is she doing? She's at a club dancing, making money. Some of it was incognito, but still, she's living a different world, right?
But they could control that. I mean, they programmed them. They could choose.
They were starting to not be able to control that. That was the flaw.
I mean, that's how they were so human that they couldn't.
Why were they made to be so human in the first place? Because even they question that themselves. Why did they make us so human with these memories if we're going to live such short lives?
Because why are people working on AI robots right now? It's just our need. Some people need to create.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where it's you could say it, but there's people right now trying to make replicants because it's just that it's kind of like the biblical, they're creating a thing that would destroy them, right? It's kind of them. Their ego, their God complex in a way, and that's what Tyrell clearly has. Calls them his children and all that. He feels that he owns all these things and he's the father, and you just want that power.
I just feel if you're to make a robot slave force, you don't give it the ability to think for
That's
itself.
part of the point of the film.
I know.
I know. Well, I think one thing too is they kind of address that. I don't know all the reasons why they want them to be so human, but they put in that. The 4-year limit on it, so that it can't really get too out of hand. At least that's what they think. That's what they plan for.
I mean, practically, you want because AI with limited learning ability and limited sentience can only do so many tasks.
Can adapt to new jobs, new planets.
Especially on a new
situations.
planet, you want them to be able to handle any situation that a competent human would be able to handle.
Yeah.
And then I think when it comes down to Tyrell himself, the genius who's making all these things, he's obviously got some ulterior motives going on, and the ability to make like someone who he could just talk to or hang out with.
Look at Rachel.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
like,
an employee.
the
that
idea
he
of
has by
making it
side.
like making like a human being who, and you can input like certain memories into them and make just really like interesting people, and obviously that's just a really interesting like technology thing for him to look into, right?
Yeah, and it's maybe him just saying, how far can I go? How close can I get them to being
because
human-like?
if you get to the point where you're making these things that act like humans, but obviously they're programmed, why not see, like, if you got to that point, the next logical step in advancing that technology is to make them as human as possible.
So
It may not be the right thing to do, but it's what you would expect someone in that kind of development to do.
So after Tyrell actually being like killed and murdered by one of his Nexus 6s, why in the anime, I know we're branching out a little bit and I have to go back to the movie afterwards, but why in the anime would the company then create Nexus 8s?
Because there's a flaw in the system.
And they have a longer lifespan. Even though their leader of their company was murdered by one of them.
Because when Unity had a bunch of glitches, did they not make the next Assassin's Creed game? They go, we can make this better, we can make this smoother.
But Unity didn't kill the head of Ubisoft.
But look at the world that Blade Runner's in. Like, it's in a heightened reality.
And the thing
sense,
is, though,
right?
as far as the public's concerned, no one really knows the events of Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Because they kept it very
behind the scenes.
under the covers, pretty much.
Yeah.
Behind the curtains.
Under the Ooh.
I don't know. I had another.
Come on,
saying
Blade
that
Runner.
going, but-
Behind the curtains and under the covers. Get me in on this.
But yeah,
Get
so
down in the alley and
as
it's
far as the
trifecta.
general public's concerned, maybe the other leaders of the Tyrell Corporation know they killed the past CEO, but obviously they're businessmen. They want to make as much money off this as possible. So they're like, hey, we can make this better, and
Which
they,
one
in
the
a way,
short
they
show
did
as well,
because
too.
what they did, you'll find out, is the new Nexus ones, they have a print on their eye.
The Nexus
Or,
8.
yeah, the Nexus 8, they have a public database for who the replicants are, and all replicants have right under their eyelid, they have a print on it, and it's their number. So they have a much easier way of identifying them, and because they're given a natural lifespan, they're less likely to rebel in a way because they have so much more to hold on to.
Yeah.
They have so much more to risk. And it gives them that encouragement to be, I don't know, more human and just kind of integrate in society more. And they didn't seem like they were used for slave labor as much as just working like a regular workforce, sort of.
Yeah, I think for other jobs, because there's one in this short, the anime one we're talking about, it starts with like a female replicant and a male replicant saves her. They kind of imply that this female replicant's just used as a prostitute, though.
Yeah.
So that's where it's like,
Yeah,
hey, you're not a
it's not
slave,
good.
but you're doing like these crap jobs where people
Yeah.
wouldn't want to do that, right? So
Yeah, they're still made for human use.
yeah, they're not equals. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh yeah, it's a bit better now. It's same thing as we go about today. Look at all the issues now where it's like, yeah, there's no such thing as slaves, but people are still constantly fighting for freedoms of right, freedom for expression, things like that, and that's what Blade Runner has always been like a sign of. So
Okay. My next question is, like, the Blade Runners were specialized in fighting and taking down illegal replicants on Earth. So why was Harrison Ford so bad at fighting them?
I don't think he
I don't
was
think he was bad
bad.
at fighting.
He was fighting ones that were military made as well. They
Yeah.
all had like, especially Roy. Roy was high military, but all of them were something else and military. So
Yeah.
they were all trained in combat. He is just a detective.
And they're
Plus-
they're built at like a higher strength and higher agility.
Yeah.
And then
And-
equal, if not more.
But if
intelligence.
they're dubbed like with the title, you're titled like literally a Blade Runner with the task of taking down illegal replicants. I feel like that comes
I
with a
feel
certain
like-
degree of
Well,
training.
I-
In Jurassic World, is Chris Pratt stronger than the Raptors though? But he's trained to take them down, right? Doesn't mean he's stronger than
I'm
them.
not trained to take them down. He's trained to
the thing
train
is-
them, though.
He's not trained to train
Well, that's
them.
what he does. He trains them.
No, I know, but still, that's why like he's still trained to keep them under control, right? That's Deckard. His way is killing them, but
I kind of get the feeling too that there's a part of it where Harrison Ford's character is kind of like, pulling his punches a little bit. Like
Yeah,
as the movie
he's conflicted.
progresses, obviously, and he's getting to know Rachel. Yeah.
yeah.
Like he realizes that like what is the difference between these people or these replicants rather and like anyone
Maybe he
else I've
shouldn't be
ever met.
doing
Like
this.
why am I killing these are people, right?
Yeah.
So I get the feeling that he like that cold hearted killerness of him, like he kind of sees it as like a more of an evil act as opposed to one where he's doing good for the world.
Yeah, and he'd already retired too, so he kind of was maybe in the mindset of I was done doing that, and now he gets taken out. It's more okay, and then put on the fact that he's fallen in love with a replicant now, so that adds to it even more. Of like,
I can see where you're coming from for sure, and I think I think you're right in some ways too.
I just feel like, I mean, I know at the point where he was fighting Roy, he was definitely conflicted and was struggling and he was getting injured, but even then, he just seemed to be very. Just not focused off his game. He didn't seem like a calm and collected kind of.
I think that might have something to do actually with the pacing of the movie. Like, what if there was like 10 replicants, and so he was just like fucking them all up, and then the last one's like, you know, your final boss. But obviously, this movie only had four, right? And
only 3 of which he actually.
Yeah, so if you like you space those out over the course of an entire movie, and maybe it seems like those moments weren't as like high intensity, or maybe he wasn't as good as you would think. And I think I like that pathway better than if they just threw a bunch of replicants and he was just Batman and killing all of them.
Yeah.
I think part of it was also because usually I imagine it said in that universe the Blade Runner is more of identifying and like asking those questions and figuring out if they're replicants, and they're usually given a situation where they have a overwhelming use of power, whether it be through multiple other personnel or they're just in the situation where they have the upper hand. But because they're doing, I don't know if it's common for them to do everything so behind the scenes as they wanted to do with Deckard with these 4 replicants, but it seemed
I think it's supposed to be, they don't want the public knowing too much.
Yeah, but it seemed like he was in a situation, he was put in a situation where he was given he was at a disadvantage to the replicants a lot of time, whereas I imagine in that line of work a lot of the time he's in a position where he had an advantage.
Yeah.
So it seemed like he didn't seem comfortable in the situation as one would, as I imagine in the past when he was a Blade Runner, than he was in the time being. So.
Okay.
What I want to ask you guys, because we talked about this bit, how were you guys feeling? Because this question that's been debated for years. Maybe we'll get an answer next week. But the thought of Deckard, is he human or is he a replicant? Because there's science for both. Was this something that you thought about? Is this something, do you lean one way or the other? And is it something that you want revealed in the next movie? Is that a question you want answered?
One thing I actually saw from one of the trailers, I think it was actually in like it shows like a bunch of quick clips before the shorts. Like at the start of each short, there's a bunch of like quick clips, and at one of them it shows Ryan Gosling sitting down at a table and he says, "I want to ask you a few questions," and I feel like that could be him asking the questions that figure out whether they're replicant or not.
Yeah.
Right.
And that could lead into them answering that question finally. So
my hope is he's just trying to find Rachel. Because I'll show my cards. I like the story better if he's a human, to be honest, in Blade Runner. The bad thing is I think there's too many signs that point to him being a replicant. In the Ultimate Cut, they add the unicorn scene. Gaff leaves him a unicorn. There's this feeling of, they say early on they have access to their memories and dreams, hallucinations.
And he does the same thing to Rachel,
Yeah, so there's this thing that maybe it's just a coincidence. I either want 2 things. I want him to be human, or I actually really just want them not to answer it. I want them still to leave up in the air. Yeah. I think you can tell Gosling's story. I think Harrison Ford's going to play a part. I think it's going to be very similar to Force Awakens, even less so. I think Deckard one way will meet his end or not. Yeah. But I kind of hope they just leave it open, and I think that makes the story better too, because it makes you question. But if they answer right out, if it's done well, I'll be fine with it. But I've always liked it as a human story better, because he's a human dealing with these robots are more human than us. So if he's already a replicant, it's just, I'm killing my own people, this and that. It's like, well, we've kind of seen similar stories, and it's a cute twist. It's a fun twist, him being a replicant, but I like the more impactful thing. But the director seems to think he's always been on the camp. Harrison Ford has been like he's a human, the director's always been like he's a replicant. So both of the big creators of this both feel different ways about it. So
well, I agree 100% with you. I like the story better if he's a human, and I want them to leave it ambiguous as well.
Yeah.
I think that'd be my preferred way. I don't even, like, I guess you can't really fully confirm that he is a human just because that doesn't make sense. You can confirm that he's a replicant in the movie, but you can't really fully confirm that he's a human. There's always that potential that he could be a replicant. But I think leaving it ambiguous is the best way to do it.
I do feel like they will answer it though, because since '82 it's been such a talking point. I feel like I would like it a lot to show that restraint, but I can understand it's hard to not want to give that resolution to the movie, you know. But who knows? It'll be interesting. Taylor, what do you think about this?
I don't know, like all the replicants, at least for me, like they have that eye thing going on, and then even in the anime, they made a point of saying like our perfect eyes or something. I can't remember. I think it was
those were the new model because they're talking
that was
about
the
red
next
eyes.
He's talking about the.
If Deckard was a replicant, he'd be an older model.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Well, then even then, that being said, like it was the newer models that were made to last longer. And I mean, if Deckard is an
he could
older
have been
model,
one of the first newer models, like Rachel.
Yeah.
but then wouldn't his eyes be glowing just like all the other
Well, he
ones?
could have been the Nexus 7.
Because that wasn't until after
He could also be a
Tyrell
special
died.
one-off who's designed to kill out-of-hand robots, and therefore they wouldn't want him to.
Yeah.
Actually, that doesn't really make sense.
Because what happens in the original cut of the movie, what happened was Warner Brothers felt that the audience was not going to get the movie. So it's Harrison Ford narrating the whole thing. Narration is not good because it really dumbs it down, and there's rumors that him and Ridley Scott really disliked it, so Harrison Ford almost on purpose made the narration bad. At the end of that movie, literally while they're driving with Rachel, and he's like, oh, and we discovered that Rachel didn't have the 4-year life switch, and she gets to live on, and we're going to be happy. Yeah. And he took the version you guys saw, I'm pretty sure you saw the ultimate cut, he took that all out. And that's what I like too. I like the idea of him being with this person he loves, but she's not going to have that last long. But then the narration totally just said, oh yeah, she can go and live on. So there's technically like canon things that point to, there is, if technically like Roy, remember they said once you're made, you can't be past 4 years. But you could be like, oh, Rachel, they on purpose made her not the 4-year gap. So same way, he could even be an older model. They could have just made it so he lived longer.
He could very well be,
which I'm not saying I like that example. I'm saying there's ways out of it. They may not even go in that deep and say this is how we did it, you know. And plus, I feel like they didn't. I feel like even though it was a big bomb, I don't think they intended to do a sequel, as it took 30 years to make one. So I feel like they kind of had the idea of like, oh, leave it up to them. Like, who cares if he explains the replicant or not? And that's when I think they were like, no, we gotta make this a happy ending. Like, him and Rachel lived together forever, and that was the ending, and it was strange.
I'm glad I didn't experience that.
Yeah, it's still good. It's still the same movie, but it's less superior than the other ones. So, also we're gonna talk about the shorts. Still, I know you haven't seen the shorts, so we can talk about them just quickly. There's one, the very first.
You can spoil if you want. I don't care.
Yeah, they were short on the anime one. The very first one that they released was the Jared Leto one. He's like the new Tyrell. He is the new creator of these, and pretty much this is after replicants were banned.
When were these made?
The shorts?
Yeah.
Probably like months ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so recent.
Yeah.
Well, should we go over the timeline of the kind of like the events?
Yeah, I guess
a
you
quick
can.
timeline. So basically, the anime is 2022, so it's just a couple of years after the the first film.
Yeah.
And it pretty much there's these new replicants, and they're pretty much human. They have natural lifespans, and so there's this human supremacy movement going on, and everyone they basically start riots and like killing off replicants because they can find them in the public database. So there's a bunch of rebel cells of replicants who get together and they organize an EMP to go off above Los Angeles.
Yep.
And then at the same time, a bunch of the rebel cells come up and blow up all the like hard drives.
The archives.
All the archives that hold those public databases of who's a replicant and who isn't. To pretty much end people being able to know if you're a replicant or not.
Yeah.
And so all the remaining living replicants, unless they show people their eye, they can live on as a human.
Or they want to try and have a baby with the replicant. I don't know how that works. I don't think they've ever...
A baby?
Well, like, what if a human woman met a guy? It's like, we should have a child. I don't know if
they have fully functional sperm. So.
Do they?
Yeah.
Do they actually?
Oh yeah.
I imagine they're pretty much a human. I don't see
why
they
you
wouldn't
make
be able
that
to.
then, you know?
Special sauce.
That just gets into a whole nother I actually have read a sci-fi book that kind of like delved into that.
Join us on Sperm Sundays.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's that happens, and then 10 years later, and then after that there's a prohibition on replicants.
They're banned.
And no one can make any replicants
Yeah.
because there's such a catastrophic event, because there's literally an entire blackout over Los Angeles, which is now like a huge hub for everything, it seems like now.
Yeah. So the second short is Jared Leto.
2036 was it?
Oh, that was 32.
Okay.
2030s. Anyways. So yeah, I guess 2036 would kind of make sense. But 10 years later, or Jared Leto, is it Warren? Something like
War-
I think it's Warren or
Ward.
Wallace. I'll look it up.
Wallace
Ward
is it.
Beecham.
Wallace.
So basically, comes up with this. He has his own replicants he's made,
Okay.
and
Improved
ones
Ah,
who
yes.
will follow. They're not really human anymore. Like they're human, but
Terminators.
they will follow all of your orders. They have like an overriding switch, I guess.
He
They'll
makes
probably get
one
into
kill itself in front of everybody.
Yeah, so there's like these world leaders, I guess, who kind of have the prohibition in place, and Wallace comes and says, if humanity wants to survive in an interstellar way, if they want to like advance further, replicants are where we need to go to. We need replicants in our everyday life and whatnot. And then obviously people they're against it because of what happened and said these are completely controllable. And so he basically demonstrates that this replicant is still human and has feelings and can feel pain. And then he asks the replicant to make a decision between killing himself or killing Wallace. And the replicant just kills himself without a second thought to show that they're very controllable.
Right.
And then that obviously ends the prohibition, and then it goes to the next one, which is 2048 now.
Yeah,
just before Blade Runner.
yeah.
And I don't actually remember that one off the top of my head.
That is giving a backstory to Batista's character. He's
Right,
from Drax,
yeah.
So he is you just meet him in a bathroom. He's very nervous, very shaky. He's walking through a bar. He's obviously living more in the downtrodden place, like of this town or
Slums.
city. Yeah, the slums. Yeah. He has this family that he's friends with. It's a mother and a daughter. He gets her a book. He's walking by his own business. These gangs start to like tear them apart. They're taking stuff and they kind of insinuate maybe some bad stuff happening. Batista comes back and beats them up. He's very overpowered, so revealing that he's a replicant. And then he drops some papers, and I think it's kind of assumed that maybe he was wanted or something like that, or they found out he's a replicant. These guys, and they're calling somebody, and that maybe sets up because obviously in the trailers you see Ryan Gosling talking to Batista, and he's probably hunting down still replicants, right? And I imagine Batista will actually be a replicant that he kills. I think it'll be similar to Deckard, where that's one of his first missions, and it makes sense because it's like, oh, Dave Batista's a bigger star, so they'll have that impact. People will think he's in it a bit more, and then he's gone. So
Yeah.
Classic life with Ryan Reynolds.
yeah. So I'll quickly go. The anime I liked was a bit too long. Visually was stunning. My problem was the first half was a lot about all the themes we touched upon. They go over a lot. And that was my problem. Like, if you're watching this, you probably know the themes of Blade Runner. So I was thinking, he's literally talking to her like, we're more humans than those humans, and we deserve a chance. It was like, I get that, and I'll understand that in Blade Runner, the movie, but because we're going to get that in the sequel, I don't know if we need the anime one. But the event was kind of cool. The one with Jared Leto, that was cool because it set up, how the replicants are coming back. Humans are on a down path. They need some help. The replicants are coming in. I'm going to sound like a broken shoe.
Broken shoe.
Broken record.
A broken shoe.
I like him in other movies and performances.
Yikes.
He just was not doing it for me, Leto. The problem is, and Dylan, you might agree with me.
Do
you see this?
Continue, sorry.
When he's playing, his character's blind. For me, it never feels, lately, he's never felt like the character. He's felt like someone playing the Joker. He's felt like someone playing a blind guy. Like, he doesn't fit with the rest of them, and it's not in the way of like, oh, he's really unique. It just felt like it was, I'll say, close to overacting. So like I said, you're going to say, oh, you hate her. I get it. It's fine, but maybe I am. But it stuck out to me. I'm not going to be thrilled with this, but I think he's playing Tyrell's role in the next movie, so I don't think Jared Leto's going to be in that much. And the Batista one I liked. It was kind of cool, but I don't think any of them were that neat other than the Jared Leto one. The Batista one was fun because you get to see, oh, this is how Gosling finds out, someone report him, but I don't think many of them were needed. The only good thing about the Batista one, it just shows the world again, and it feels very similar, the dark and dreary, rainy, like Blade Runner. So
it was really nice to see that one too, because the one, the trailers before made everything, it seemed like more of a utopia than dystopia.
Yeah.
Definitely from just the trailers, and then that short kind of brought us back to the fact that there is still this dystopian aspect to this universe, this world that we're in.
Yeah, and especially the humans are still supposed to not be like, it's not a glory town. That's why one of the reasons Jared Leto talks about bring the replicants back, is like we need help doing stuff around the world and yada yada yada. So.
Yeah. So you don't like Jared Leto in this so far?
No, not so far. It could be different, but I feel like it's gonna be this performance. I just think it's a bit bit overacting. It's a bit too theater. And
Sounds like a broken shoe.
I think it's.
yeah, broken shoe.
I personally think it's pretty good. Like, I don't have any problems with it.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good so
Yeah.
far, but I mean, we'll see how it goes in the
Yeah.
context of the entire movie.
Yeah, movie could completely different, so I could change my shoe.
But yeah, I really like the second one with the short with Jared Leto. I thought that was visually just very stunning.
Mhm.
And I love the start where they're all just like standing around super casually, and then
Super cash.
and it seems like, but then it's also like in a very downtrodden room. It's just like bare cement walls and
Yeah.
then like a really nice desk.
Yeah.
And then you see Jared Leto's character come in, and he's like super well dressed, and like it's just there was a lot of contrasts that just made it so very stunning. So I love that.
Very cool.
You saw a few.
I just watched the anime one and like the last part of yours where that dude picks up the papers and
Picks up
just,
papers.
calling David Bautista there. But the anime was actually pretty cool. I thought it was visually, it was fantastic. I had a couple cool fight scenes. I didn't really know what was the goal of it, like why it really was needed between the original and the new one. I mean, it had a few messages in it, I guess, but I mean, I'm more on your part where I don't
Yeah.
really see where it really was needed, I guess. But I mean, it's cool. It's just more storyline that we get to see between the films. So, and it's free, which is neat. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still about the whole cuts or short whatever films in the middle of like we're waiting for the movie to come out. Like I know they did that with Covenant, with they showed off that character getting killed off in Covenant. So I
I
don't.
still haven't seen that even.
But yeah, I watched that.
Didn't they post that like only on Twitter or something though? Or was it like
Facebook? Yeah. So I don't know. Like I'm still warm to. Yeah, I get it. I guess I don't want to sound like an old farm. Like I don't know if I like that, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think if it's not in the movie, it's like.
I
maybe
think
it's
they
not
could
as
have just
important.
done these things in the movie. I feel like you don't need to watch these before the movie.
I feel like all these could have been in the crawl. There's gonna be a crawl like Blade Runner
I
had.
feel like there is going to be a crawl with all the events that kind of happened.
Yeah.
Dylan, you want there to be a crawl? You love
It
crawls.
doesn't necessarily need to be
How did you
like
feel
a
when Blade
crawl.
Runner happened? You saw a crawl where you're like, ooh.
You know, it's quite different than the Star Wars ones.
I know.
I think a crawl would be decent, just like
Crawl.
literally the same text from the
Well, they did in the shorts, so I
yeah,
think
in the
they'll do
shorts they
movie.
did like a little because at the start of the anime one you saw they had like the little crawl there.
Yes.
If they just did something like that just to describe the timeline of events.
It's
and
been
then-
30 years. Harrison Ford has vanished. The solar system is in peril.
Harrison Ford. Just drop the acronym.
They just call him Harrison in the movie.
All these casual fans, they forget who Deckard is, but they know Harrison Ford. They do. Han Solo has disappeared for 30 years.
Do we have anything to add more on the shorts? Anything to add on the movie next week or anything like that? I'm very excited to review it.
Oh,
I hope it's visually stunning. I hope the Vangelis score is met. Like Vangelis did a great job.
He's doing
with
this
Blair.
one too?
What?
Is he doing this one?
Actually, I don't know who's doing it. Let me look. I just hope that it's met on the same. No, he's not actually. Well, let me look, but I don't think he is. But I know.
Oh yeah, one thing with the score too, like I think one thing I really liked about it is it's very reminiscent of Pink Floyd's "Wish You Were Here," "Shine On You Crazy Diamond." It's just like 30-minute long song, and a lot of the noises and sounds are like it came out a few years after that album, so I wouldn't be surprised if he heard that and he's like, you know what you're doing, Rick, right? I'm gonna copy some of this stuff. So
Yeah, the sound mixing is great. What was I gonna say? They also. I like the way that the score sometimes feels like it's from different movies and different scenes. Like when he goes to like the strip bar, like the score sounds completely different than anything else. And sometimes that won't work, but in this movie, it really accommodated like the settings that they were in.
yeah,
So
definitely.
no, I know Hans Zimmer's helping with it. He took over, and Brendan Wallfish, I think that's the guy who
Wallfish.
did it. So that's fantastic. So it's not Vangelis, but there's Hans Zimmer who is a god. And if you've not, probably you guys haven't, but the It score by itself is phenomenal. I've been listening to it a lot, so we're in good hands. I don't know if it'll match that, but I hope it's something on par or just something unique like the original, where it's not just cookie cutter like action music, like you know. And don't go in the Marvel library of scores and pull any of those out. So
the copy paste strategy.
yeah. Well, Taylor, where can they find us next week for our Blade Runner review? Which I'm sure
Next
if you like.
week in the year 2017.
If you liked our discussion, I'm sure you'll like it more next week.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good next week. I'm sorry I didn't know you still had more. You just passed it off. Like, where can I find us, Taylor?
I was still
Because
still
next-
talking while you started.
Oh, you two, so cute.
So cute.
But if this was acid, I'd throw it in your face.
Yeah?
That
It is actually.
is a functional event.
It only activates in the human stomach.
That's a fun Blade Runner 2049.
Alright.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, in your dystopian futures, you can tune into your internet, data, whatever
Tune
you
into
got.
your internet.
It's like a broken shoe.
Like a broken
You might
shoe.
wanna,
Cool sense?
Cool sense, all you broken shoes. You gotta go into your search bar and type in on your Facebook, GeekVerse Space Podcast, because we got tons of awesome stuff. We got this, we got the retrospects, we got everything. I mean, we got so many reviews coming out, like it's unbelievable. The movies, the games, like this October, November, December, this is the time to be alive
So
and to be a
Justice
geek.
League, Star Wars,
Slobber
Assassin's
after
Creed.
slobber
There's
after.
no better time to be a geek in geek. Well, there's a couple good times to be a geek, but this is like
Man,
the best time to be
This
a
is
geek.
the best time. We literally, at one point, we're gonna have a Justice League and Star Wars movie in the theater at the same time.
This is the best time because all that old shit, you can still watch it.
Yeah,
It's still
exactly.
around.
And we still get all the new stuff.
Yeah, and we're only in our 20s, so we still got at least like a 40.
And there's like VR
Somebody,
arcade
like-
opening up in Rutland.
Yeah.
Great time.
I just don't want to
Holy
steal
shit,
the
that's
thunder
crazy.
because, like, you know, like back in the day, like
Steal
when
it.
the GameCube with Smash Bros. Melee comes out and the
Oh,
excitement.
The first time you can have a handheld console. Just
Yeah, could you imagine opening up Melee and just taking the plastic off a brand new Melee case? Like, how amazing that would feel.
It's a great feeling.
Have you felt that experience?
Not recently,
Oh,
but I have had that feeling before.
you're one of the few, I think.
What?
I had to get mine used off the game shelf.
Well, I
I
got
mean,
that
there's
shit.
still a lot of people alive who have had that experience.
Yeah.
They're just more alive who haven't.
Oh,
That feeling when you first get to play as Bowser is mind blowing, even though he sucks in competitive play.
I love Bowser. You know where else you get a great feeling is geekfirstpodcast.com. Find our social media at Twitter and Facebook. Find all our podcasts and YouTube, our video subscription
All
at
of our
YouTube.
YouTubes, only one YouTube.
Yeah, at YouTube, at Twitch, at SoundCloud,
Podbay.
iTunes,
On the
Podbay.
web.
Yeah, like I said, lots of good stuff, lots of reviews coming out. Yeah, so next week will be Blade Runner 2049, and we promise you it'll not be boring.
Have a good day.
That sounds so depressed. Have a good
I
day.
guess you can have
Have
a
a
good
good
one.
day.
You still have to eat, don't you?